Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the Going Dark podcast. I told you we had another guest here, Chop. What are we thinking here? What episode again?
It's episode 35. You know the vibes. I mean, we have been having more guests on recently, and we have actually a guest that I'm pretty sure was one of our first.
Yes.
Or at least a very early guest that we've had before that people seem to really enjoy. It is the lad, MrDalekJD, good friend of mine. How are you doing, John? Good to have you on today.
I am doing very well, gentlemen. Very happy to be back. Second time on the podcast. Been waiting a long time to be back. So
I'm glad,
very
man.
excited.
I'm glad you've anticipated. I'm sure the viewers at home have too. Just because I think the one that we did with you was like, I think it was honestly our longest podcast we've ever done.
I think it was too.
It was easily your episode. We just get going, and that's just how it is. But
yeah,
I mean, man, the last time we talked, it may have been was it just after BO6's release?
I was actually trying to look that up right now as we were.
It was before BO6 came out, or maybe like shortly after. I want to say it was before.
I think it's before. It's been a hot minute. It's been a long time. Time goes so quick.
Man,
like 1 minute the game just came out, and now we're nearing, well, not quite nearing its last season, but we're getting there, and the next game has already been teased.
Yeah, it's already on the horizon. It's crazy. I'm pretty confident the last time we talked was before Black Ops 7, or I'm sorry, BO6, but now we're here before Black Ops 7. Well, it should be interesting because, I mean, it'll probably follow a similar structure as far as like
July 10th.
Talking about
July 10th.
July 10th. No way.
Almost a year ago to the day.
Oh my God. That's crazy. Literally almost a whole year.
It's not felt like that long.
No, it hasn't.
But man, so I mean, I guess that was very pre Black Ops 6, but one of the differences, I'm pretty sure by July last year, like I think we had already played Black Ops 6 at least once. And this year, like, bro, we don't know anything about this game. Like,
yeah, we literally know
know
nothing.
anything. It's been very very quiet, very low key. I mean, they did reveal like their official trailer at the Xbox showcase. And then since then, maybe a tiny little teaser, but that's been it. I mean, the thing is, we've known about this game for quite some time, right? We've known Treyarch was working on this Black Ops 2 sequel, so to speak, for quite a few years, and we've speculated about what that might include or entail. And given that we're only a couple months away, I don't think the picture has gotten much clearer about what that actually is. There's been a few things we can obviously take apart a little bit, especially with the trailer itself. But I mean, John, how are you feeling about Black Ops 7? Can you believe that's a real thing?
Yeah, it's really hard because it's like if we go back in time to like 2012, we're all playing Black Ops 2. We are loving it. And then like future us just comes out of nowhere and be like, yo, you're going to get a sequel to this game, but you're going to have to wait until the year 2025 to get it. And I'd be like, yo, there's no way. You're telling me the next game after Black Ops 2 is not going to be a sequel to this game? Yeah, it's crazy. To me, it's like it's a no-brainer game. I'm surprised we are getting it after waiting 13 years for it, if that makes sense. Like
after the year, we're in the year that it was in Black Ops 2.
Yeah, and I never would have thought in a million years we'd be waiting in 13 years to get that sequel. But I'm really excited. Like it feels, like I said, it feels like if I was putting my like Activision like marketing sort of business head on like where should Call of Duty go? It's like, well, it's a no-brainer. We've not gone to the Black Ops 2 futuristic sequel. We've not done that yet, and they've not been in the near future in a little while. So I'm quite excited. I guess comparing it to what we've got now on BO6, like even though the 1990s is new for COD, I feel like they didn't really delve as much into it as expected with the marketing and the trailers and stuff.
Yeah,
it's hard to say because you've only gotten one trailer so far, but
yeah,
I'm excited to go back to go forwards in the future a little bit and seeing how that plays in modern Call of Duty era, you know, because it's kind of untapped territory for this modern era. So I'm excited, man. And we just know so little. So it's hard to be excited about something we don't really know about. And like you said, it's been a year since the last podcast. A year ago, we had already played Black Ops 6, which is kind of insane. maybe that might have been the earliest we've ever played
Yeah, I think so.
pre-release Call of Duty game. So yeah, it's all a bit strange, but yeah, it's kind of
Yeah,
like very unknown right now.
very very unknown. The thing that is, dude, you put that into perspective, it's crazy. Like 13 years later, we get a sequel to the game that we were playing. It's like, yeah, Black Ops 3 is kind of a sequel, but you know, not really. I would agree. I do think it's smart that as far as like what we haven't gone in uncharted territory is that those direct events after Black Ops 2, because that was sort of a gap that people are like, why didn't we spend more time here? I understand that Black Ops 3 went through a whole bunch of stuff and, you know, had to be reworked a million times. And I'm sure at some point they probably teetered in the direction of maybe a more direct sequel of that, but it ended up being just like, they just went and tried something literally crazy because they had to, you know, put a game out there. But I do think it's smart that they get to this time period. But I'm also, I don't know how you feel about this, Sean, but I said this in my video recently. I'm like, honestly, I love Black Ops, but like after this one,
Yeah.
that's got to be it. They need to put a bow on Black Ops, man, for a lot of reasons, not least because I just think like storytelling wise now they're so boxed in with the rules and the established canon of the Black Ops timeline that it will be really hard to make new and creative ideas when you have to work in those constraints. And Black Ops 7 is working in the very narrow band between Black Ops 2 and I guess 4, because 4 is a prequel to 3. So it's like, what?
Dude, there's a lot
It's so
going
hard
on
to
here.
follow. Yeah,
Crazy,
it's so
man.
hard. It's crazy. I completely agree. As much as it pains me to say that, because like Black Ops is our bread and butter. Like we love all Call
Yeah.
of Duty games, but specifically Treyarch for the Treyarch zombies, like it's synonymous with Black Ops. It's hard to imagine what a Treyarch game without it being a Black Ops game would look like. But I agree. Like I went for dinner with a friend of mine and like 10 other friends, and they were just asking me like, what's going on in like the YouTube life and everything, Call of Duty, and they're like, oh yeah, didn't they just announce Black Ops 7? And they're like, how many Black Ops games has there been, man? Like I
Yeah.
can't keep up with this. And I said, you know what? Like you're not wrong. And yeah, it's just so complicated, especially for someone like that who's very casual gamer, especially very casual COD, maybe hasn't touched it in a few years. They played MW 2019. They're like, yeah, I don't really care about Black Ops. And they're like, they just can't follow it anymore. And
Sure.
it's like you said, it's just so complicated. I think after this one, they do need to switch it up.
A little
But what that
reset.
looks
Well,
like.
also, like, I mean, I'm sure you'll know this too, man. Is like, I just think that well, what Black Ops was in its just conception was just like that was just the story they were trying to tell. Like Black Ops 1, they were just, Treyarch was used to making World War II games, and then they're like, oh, let's try this this weird thing in like in the Cold War, but it's not really about the Cold War. And that was just the time period and the piece and the story they wanted to tell. And then that ended up becoming so successful that it's like, obviously, yeah, you make Black Ops 2. That's the natural progression of that. At Black Ops 3, it started getting a little weird. And then at Black Ops 4, given that there was no campaign, I actually felt like Black Ops 4 was an appropriate place if they were going to do it to like pivot away from Black Ops. Without like a story in place there, right? They don't have to adhere to all this timeline canon nonsense. Like that would have been a good point to pivot, but obviously Black Ops 4 had a lot of other shit going on, so it wasn't really possible. But I'm literally thinking, I'm like, man, if somebody in 2012, when I'm playing Black Ops 2, told me that there eventually would be a Black Ops 7, it sounds like a parody almost.
Yep. Yeah, I was going
Right?
to say the exact same thing. It sounds
like-
like a parody.
Black Ops is almost becoming a parody of itself, and it shouldn't be because, again, you and I have a very long history with Black Ops for good reason. But the point is, I feel like Black Ops as a sub brand is very old Treyarch, where that's not really the Treyarch that's making COD now. I mean, again, there's very few people from the original days still there, but not many. And certainly not like the leads or creative studio heads or anything. It's just, I don't know. Black Ops is very old Treyarch, and I'm like, new Treyarch after this one, y'all got to find like a new thing, because I don't know what you do after this.
Black Ops 3.5.
It's hard.
What'd you say, Tyler?
Black Ops 3.5. Then we'll go 4.5. The story in
Yeah.
between each game.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you got a 3.5, I'd be happy, but
Yeah.
that's just me. But then after that, please, no more.
I think they will do that though. Honestly, John, I think they're gonna do like I don't know, maybe this is like the Black Ops 2 nostalgic game. I think they're gonna do a Black Ops 3 nostalgic game. I can very much see that happening.
And then what? A Black Ops 4 nostalgic game, and then
Oh, I don't
'Cause
know
I
if
feel
there's
like
is there
at that point,
nostalgia
it would
with that
become
game?
like a
that's the thing. I don't think there is, but like, I kind of agree with you, Chop. But yeah, after that, there really is nothing else. What
Mhm.
more can they add to this story? And Black Ops 4, like, yeah, the stuff they pulled off narrative wise in that game is just, it's a travesty. Let's be honest. And I'm scared that that's going to be relevant in Black Ops 7.
Yeah, no, same here. Like they I mean, at some point you have to recognize that they will hit a wall because it's like they can't do a nostalgic Black Ops Cold War because a Black Ops Cold War you could argue is a nostalgic Black Ops 1 game. So
Mhm.
Yeah.
it will come back around on itself. But what I will say though is this is like we can talk about zombies maybe a little bit more here in a second, but I was thinking I'm like, you know what? With Transit allegedly coming back for Black Ops 7, I'm like I think the optimistic take is that this is like a good maybe it's like a way for them to create the vision that Transit was supposed to be in the first place before all of the, technical issues that got in the way of the development of that. I'm like, Transit's a bad map and it was severely held back by its hardware. And I'm like, you know what? Black Ops 7 could actually make like what that map was supposed to be. And we could see what the original intention of that was. I think that would be actually kind of cool and a way to do a remake of a map that isn't like not lazy, that's not the right word, but I don't know, fan servicey or something like that.
I love that map. I don't know if we talked about that last podcast. I loved Transit, man. I loved it so much. I guess that's coming from a non-zombies guy, but I love that idea, Chop. Of I don't know. Did you mention that to me? I feel like you mentioned like that
I think we
idea of
talked about that a little bit of like the original Transit. I was just saying like I think you can have a map being good and a map being fun are not the same thing. Transit is fun as hell. I'm not gonna lie. That's a very fun map. It's not a good map, really. Like it's not. It's objectively poorly made, but it's a fun map. And I'm like, yo, if they make Transit again in a way that it's a good and fun map, that's best case scenario, dog. That's what I would like to see happen.
yeah.
That would be great.
Yeah, I was going to ask Tyler, what is his opinion on Transit? I'm very happy to hear that he likes it because it's an interesting opinion because it's like me and Chop are very like hardcore zombie fans. You know,
Yeah.
like we have opinions that Tyler wouldn't necessarily agree with because he just sees it in a different way. He doesn't hold it up on a pedestal and inspect everything that's bad about it because rather than that, he just enjoys it. And I
Yeah.
think that I've defended Transit a lot on the last few years because I'll still say it's a terrible map, but it's a very fun map. And it's
Yeah.
so chaotic and fun with friends that it almost bypasses most of its problems. 'Cause
Yeah.
the people you're playing it with, they don't even realize there's problems. They're just too busy having fun.
I think
Mhm.
that's what it was. It was I was never playing solo. It was always me and my neighborhood friends, and we're just the memories I have of that map is literally getting on the bus secretly, and then like
And
obviously
just like leaving them
I
behind. or
thought I was
whatever. Yeah.
doing something at the time because I didn't pay attention, but like you obviously hear the horn and that's when he actually goes. But I would love being like, yeah, let's loot this building up real quick. And then I'd get on the bus and then you'd leave him and you'd hear him like, sprinting in the fog and all those things were attacking them. And I have that memory of it. So it's like you said, it's more of a fun memory rather than, oh, this didn't do this or this wasn't like
Yeah.
this. So
Yeah.
I really enjoyed that's probably the last zombies map that I played frequently. Like World at War, every zombies map I played for hours. And then Black Ops 1, same thing with the stage. And then BO2 was that one. And at that point, I was starting to lose like, I don't know, you guys are big zombies people. I was just losing that like, I don't even know what you call it. Like we're just shooting AI at the end of the day, really. And I know there's more to it than that, but you're like, all right,
Mhm.
I'll just survive the level 10 and okay, cool. Like now what? But obviously Black Ops 3, I kind of missed the boat with that one because that's when it started getting crazy and there was billions of things to do in a game. I just was playing
Black
the
Ops 3
multiplayer.
was the answer to that now what question you
Yes,
just had.
and I
Yeah.
didn't play it, which was really sad. But I remember this has nothing to do with what we're talking about, but I remember watching my brother play Black Ops 3 Zombies. I went downstairs one day and he was playing the one where you're like on the what is that even? I think it's the last one where you're in
Revelations?
space.
Yeah,
Is it-
Revelations.
and you're like boosting all over the place, and I'm like, what has this become? And I remember laughing at it because I'm like, the last memory I had was playing Nuketown Zombies. And then at that point, it'd probably been what 3 years since Zombies had been out, and then plus the DLC, so you're almost at the end of the year.
Sure.
So it'd been like 4 years since I played a Zombies map, and I'm like, oh, they've gone X Games mode with this thing.
I think it's always funny. People like to do that thing. I'm John. I know you see this all the time, and I'm curious what you think about this. Like people do that thing where they're like, "Look what COD Zombies became." They'll post a screenshot from like Nocturne Toten, and then they'll show like I don't know, like Revelations or something. But you could do that for literally anything. You could be like, "Oh my God, look what COD Zombies has become." You could put the first picture as Revelations, and the second picture is like Liberty Falls, and it's like, well, I mean, you could make a point with any two sets of images. You know what I mean? Like COD Zombies has always been kind of weird. And yeah, the weirdness from World at War to Black Ops 3 is pretty pronounced. And the weirdness from Black Ops 3 even to Black Ops 6 is pretty pronounced too. But they're all like weird in their own way that like doesn't necessarily make COD Zombies as a game like any less good or anything. I just think you can use any two images and make whatever point you want.
Yep, no, I agree. I guess it's more like, I guess with Tyler explaining, like looking at like World at War to now, like there's been a crazy jump between that style of gameplay to now. But like you said, it's the whole like, well, what do I do now thing? And it's like now there is so much to do that it is kind of overwhelming to some new players to an
100%.
extent.
Yes.
But maybe it's toned down a tiny bit in Black Ops 6, arguably. Like I don't know, it's still there if you're looking for it, but I think like
Overwhelmed, but has
fundamentally
almost eclipsed the survival aspect of it now.
yeah, like people aren't playing it to like survive to the highest round because it's like we have done that so many times at this point. We're looking for like something else to do. Like what's the fun sort of like campaign-esque story quest that we can follow? But the worst example you could give Chop of like X screenshot and Y screenshot is the Abomination Challenge LTM cell shaded thing that's coming to season 4 Reloaded. It's probably out by the time this podcast episode is out, but Detonated posted that image explaining what that mode was, and that tweet has like 5 million views, and someone quote tweeted it and it says like, what the F has what the F has gaming become? And it's got like 10 million views and
It's like, this is the
150,000 likes.
ugliest screenshot of gaming ever. It was like
I
a
did
10
see
million
that.
view tweet.
Yeah.
Like,
and it's
whoa.
crazy because it's like you just don't expect to see that for COD, let alone COD Zombies.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate.
That's part of the problem with Call of Duty 2 is I feel like every time they're in the news, it's for that. Like the casual person. My buddy sent me that picture who hasn't played Call of Duty in 10 years. He's like,
Beavis and Butthead one.
literally sent it to me. He's like, what is going on over there? You know, because everybody now knows that I do Call of Duty content. So anytime there's any sort of major news, they'll text me and be like, hey, what's going on? And I'm like, I don't know how to answer
As
that
if,
one,
like,
man.
you're responsible for that.
Yeah, like I don't know
Like,
how to
yo.
answer Beavis and Butthead being in Call of Duty. I'm sorry, man.
That's so crazy. Yeah, I mean, it is weird seeing like zombies get mainstream in that way and not necessarily for the right reasons. Now, I have to ask though, because I this is my I don't know where my tinfoil hat is, but I'm like, I'm like, do you think that to some degree they do that on purpose because they know it's just going to get the internet riled up?
Yeah.
Like, I've been
has
thinking
to
about
be.
this, right? I'm like, Activision does a lot of things that like they have to be aware that I'm sure the internet won't like, but then I'm sometimes thinking maybe that's on purpose because they know it's going to get the internet like riled up. And I mean, like John, you'll even think about this with COD. Do you remember COD Next, right? And then after that, people were like so like doomer about Liberty Falls, right?
Oh, God.
Everyone's like, oh
Yeah.
my God, this map looks so bad, blah, blah, blah. The whole internet was saying how bad it looked and whatnot. And people were talking about it at least. And it's like, okay, Black Ops 6 comes out, Liberty Falls comes out. It's pretty good. It's not the best map of all time, but you know what? It's a pretty good map, honestly. And so I'm like, they got people talking about it, which is probably good for them. And whether it be a negative or positive thing, the map came out and spoke for itself, and it was, not necessarily groundbreaking, but it was a very competent and well-rounded map. I'm wondering if like that's kind of their strategy. I don't know. Maybe that's kind of wild, but
I think maybe 10% of their strategy might involve that. I think like it goes down to that like classic quote of like any press is good press,
Yeah.
Sure.
even if it's negative. But yeah, there definitely must be an aspect of like this might be not controversial crossover, but just more like this is a potentially unusual crossover that people would not expect. So like when it does arrive, people are talking about it because it's so strange to see.
unexpected. Yeah.
Yeah, but like I don't know. Like I feel like over this year, I don't know if it's been this way because like we've had a few years now where COD has had crossover stuff throughout the year, but I feel like this year more than any other year, it's just felt so like not disconnected, but like they just there is no correlation between the crossover and then like COD. Like to me, if they had impactful crossovers that
Yes.
genuinely made sense, like not necessarily narratively, but like you know what I mean. It would make sense to see it in
Thematically,
Cold War.
thematically.
Cold War
It would
was
do
I
so
feel like
well.
the Cold War I felt like was perfect. Die
Yeah, the
Hard
80s
and
action
Rambo.
heroes. Yeah, that was fantastic.
Yeah.
That was really good. But yeah, like Squid Game is like, okay, that made sense because Squid Game was coming out, like, sure. But like Beavis and Butthead, it's like, that's just so random. Where's that come from?
Yeah.
Like,
So,
have I
like-
missed
Or, like, the
something?
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, like it's just like thing from '90s. Like I don't
Yeah,
know.
yeah, yeah.
I mean, sure, because the
Yeah.
game's in the '90s, but it's like I don't. But then it's like, does it even link to Call of Duty in the least? Most of them, not really. I would agree, dude. Like Cold War, honestly, like their collabs and things that they did, those were fine. Those crossovers thematically made sense. Like that's something that I can get behind. Some of these just got so wide. Like, even Squid Game, I think, was kind of pushing it low key.
I think it was. To be honest with you, I agree with you.
Yeah, that was kind of pushing it, and I'm like, I'm wondering, you know, it's been difficult for Call of Duty to maintain its identity when the game after it's launched for a couple months. And I'm like, do we think that's going to be the same case with Black Ops 7? Because if this game is set in the future, it's like what they basically have open season on any collab they want to do ever. So I can only see that problem getting more pronounced in the next game if there's no restrictions on what they can do. So I don't know. We'll see.
You think it's kind of like the AW situation where AW they really tested how wild they could get, and then BO3 kind of did the same thing. And then I feel like IW and World War II kind of were like, all right, let's find that middle ground of, all right, this is a good thing. And maybe MW, I don't know, MW3 had some crazy ones. The Duck.
Oh, it did for sure.
Nicki
And
Minaj.
look,
Was that MW2? Was Nicki Minaj
That was
MW2?
MW3.
Yeah, that's MW.
Oh no, that
MW2,
was
I
two.
think.
that
I think it was
two.
MW2.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. So
Um,
maybe we're on a
well,
year
it's
of like, maybe it's not that going to be that crazy on BO7 in the first couple months, maybe.
I think like y'all can tell me anything about this, but I'm okay with COD doing crazy stuff, man. When we had the ex Sledgehammer dev on our podcast, he was saying that like the end of the COD World War II season got pretty wild. They had I'm trying to remember what that, not Control, whatever that mode was, where it's like there was UFOs and things like that, where you would
ground war, or not ground war,
war. Yeah. You would never expect that to be in a game called Call of Duty World War II. I'm okay with crazy things like that in context, but there's a line to be drawn somewhere, and like you kind of have to show some restraint at some point to keep the identity of COD intact. And just given that given the themes of this next game, and that it's in this very like coveted time period of, people love Black Ops 2, people love that whole story of Menendez and David Mason and all that. I'm worried what they're gonna do to that a little bit. But we can leave that for now. I want to ask you, John, a little bit about like what you expect for the campaign. Because given that it's relying on a lot of these iconic characters, and this part of the story never really got. Black Ops 3 according to like the codex in that, like Menendez died, like flat out. They just said he was killed. Do you think they're going to hold true to that in the campaign, or do you think they're gonna like retcon that a little bit?
It's difficult because like you watch that teaser trailer and you're like, oh, Menendez isn't dead, like he's alive, and it's like okay, and then we learn that the game's set in 2035. I'm like, okay, it's 10 years after BO2, but the like canon ending is that he died and it starts the revolution, and then we get that teaser on June 20th where it sort of makes that out to be what's happening. So then it's like, how is he alive? And it's like, my theory is that Menendez isn't alive, but he is alive within David Mason's head. Or there is some sort of weird technology that's been invented that because I mentioned a little bit at the start of the podcast how I'm scared that the BO4 story is going to somehow be canonized in BO7, and even I don't really understand it, but there's the idea of these things called archetypes that are like versions of characters that are resurrected, and that includes Menendez, it includes Alex Mason, it includes Frank Woods. Like, it's so bizarre, and I'm scared that they're going to do something like that where the Menendez that's in the game is
like
either
the archetype one.
Yeah, he's either an archetype or he's just in David Mason's head, and the whole thing is like this like mind game being played on him, where all the events of BO2 and sort of like basically throughout his life when he was like a child and had to suffer the events of like Hudson being killed in front of him, it's just like tormented his head for his entire life. And after the events of BO2, I would assume he would like just kind of like retire, sort of like check out from all of that.
He's done at the end of that game. He's like,
exactly.
He's like, I'm done, Sarge.
Yeah, he's done. Like he's checked out. But I think like from that, it sort of haunted him. And then this technology is introduced, and I don't know, like if I got the same thing, but watching the teaser, like the presentation of the guild and all their technology and stuff, to me it almost seemed in a way it was sort of like taunting him, being like, this is what would have happened if XYZ didn't happen in BO2. I can't quite remember exact context, but it was almost being played that like this is the outcome because things happen this way in BO2. And it's like we have machines that can do this and do that, blah 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 blah. And
because
that's
of like
sort
the
of
Solarium thing or whatever it was. Like
yeah, exactly that. It's complicated. It's confusing.
For the audience and for Tyler who don't know what the hell we're talking about with archetypes, I wanted to touch on that really quick.
It might be worth doing that.
Again, I'm not exactly an expert on this either, but from what I understand, this was like a way that the Black Ops 4 story tried to like I don't want to say retcon, but they sort of like resurrected at least the idea of other characters. So I guess like this makes the timeline of Blackout canon, where it's like this was sort of a testing ground to kind of reinstate the likeness of some of these older folks that were like the best versions of that one. So like the most apt David Mason or the most apt Raul Menendez would survive this encounter and then be like the archetype of that person. It's really weird stuff, and like who knows if they're even going that route. But it's either, I agree, it's either going to be like an archetype Raul Menendez, which would be a whole thing on its own, or I think what's more realistic is what you said, where it's in his head. And I would also extend that by saying I think the guild of Avalon, or the guild, this company that gets introduced with these robotics, like I guarantee you that's going to end up becoming Coalescence in Black Ops 3. Like
100%.
Which then that will make me actually get to play the Black Ops 3 campaign. Then it'll make sense for me to play that finally.
No, and we were talking about this, right? I'm like, the Black Ops 3 campaign is way more interesting than it seems like. It's not, a lot of it doesn't work. I'm gonna be honest. Like a lot of it is kind of scuffed, but that's one of the most interesting campaigns. I just need to like play it with you, Tyler, and like explain it to you after we beat it. So
I love it.
That like we actually really should do that soon. I know we talked about that a couple weeks ago, but we should actually do a co-op playthrough of that, because also Black Ops 7's campaign is going to be co-op. I don't know if you had any thoughts on that, John, if that's a good idea or not.
I heard the rumors like before the game was announced. They're like, yo, it's a co-op campaign. And I'm like, there's no way. Like Black Ops 3, pretty sure was the last time we've seen a co-op campaign.
Yep.
They've not done one since. And I'm like, it just doesn't make sense for them to bring that concept back, because we've had such like, you know, linear single player campaigns. And but I'm like, I'm down for it. I'm intrigued to see how they do it, because there's rumors that are like, oh, one player will play as David Mason, and the other three will play as like a
Like
Black
squad
Ops
mates or
squad.
something.
Yeah, and then there's like talk about like some players might be sort of like Bell, where they're nameless, but you can like choose their perks and their sort of
Mhm.
like personality and stuff, but they're like muted characters. And then you have the conversation of, well, if this is like the important Black Ops 2 sequel, how are we having characters that we play as that don't speak? Like how, like,
Yeah. Man,
what's going on there?
here my prediction is that I think they're almost following the formula of some of the older Black Ops games where it's like, okay, you can draw the comparisons to Cold War and Black Ops 1 campaign structurally. I would also say that you can kind of draw similarities between Black Ops 2's campaign and Black Ops 6, but maybe not as much. But maybe I think what they're doing for Black Ops 7 is almost trying to like emulate the structure of BO3's campaign. Maybe not to the same extent, but I think they're gonna. It's obviously gonna be like, co-op. I don't know about like open world or anything like that, but it's gonna be larger scale, and I bet you they're going for some kind of like overtly twisted psychological story. I mean, that's pretty evident from the trailer already. And if it's a thing where one person is playing as Mason and the other people are like nameless soldiers, I'm sure they're going to do a thing where they're going to have like weird callbacks to something that happened in a mission if you were one of the Black Ops guys that like, hopefully there's some cool storytelling like that in that way. I'm actually interested in this one because I I've been kind of like fatigued by the campaign formula honestly since Modern Warfare 2019 where it's like mission cinematic, mission cinematic, mission cinematic. And my problem with that is and this is something I noticed especially when I went back to play Black Ops 2's campaign last month is that game does so well at making sequences that like you're still in control of that aren't just
Mm.
like a cinematic. You know, like that moment where you pull up to that guy's house with Mason and you're playing as Woods and he's like arguing with his wife and stuff and you like walk to their backyard.
Yeah,
And,
yeah,
and
that's
you're
not a
doing
cutscene.
it.
That's
Yeah.
you're like
Yeah.
you're like doing it. It just helps you connect with like what's going on. It's little moments like that have just become cinematics. Or even in the most recent Modern Warfare 3, one that really pissed me off was the very ending where Soap goes to kill Price. I'm like, why was that not a little playable level for us? You know what I mean? Like, why was that just a cinematic?
Yeah.
Why couldn't the whole satisfaction would be us pulling the trigger? Why we just watched it like it was a movie?
And then it cuts.
like-
It doesn't even show you. Like obviously it's
It cuts,
implied,
right? It
but
cuts away. Yeah, he dies off screen, and I'm like, man, I don't like this. And they put a ton of money into these cinematics, and again,
Mm.
cinematics are fine, and they're very useful and impactful in certain situations, but they've really like shortchanged themselves from making cool gameplay stuff. So I'm hoping that Black Ops 7's campaign is almost a return to like a more gameplay focused one, if that makes sense. I'm sure there's going to be cinematics, obviously, but like maybe pull back a little bit on those and make some cooler levels and gameplay stuff.
I hope so, but like the rumors are that it's a co-op campaign, but like the rumors are that it's not open world, but like we obviously see in that teaser that they were flying over a familiar map, and we're like, wait a minute, where's it? Is this supposed to be in Black Ops 6? Wasn't this supposed to be the Warzone map? What's going on? And now it's confirmed that that campaign is set on the Avalon map. That was a BO6 Battle Royale map and has now been turned into a Black Ops 7 campaign map. And so I'm really
weird.
confused how that works. Like you see them wingsuit gliding in, then the next shot I assume is like a ship that's carrying players is dropping them off at a point to start a mission. But I'm really intrigued how that's going to work for a co-op campaign because I hope it's not solely set on that map and you're just
Yeah.
sort of being
Yeah.
taken around different sort of like POIs of it. Yeah, that doesn't add up right now because open world sort of missions they've done in MW3, people didn't like that. Then they announced that BO6 was going to have stuff like that, and they did it a lot better in my opinion. Those
I
levels
was about
were
to say that the one in
Yeah.
BO6 is like honestly really, and they only do it for one level, which is interesting.
Yeah,
But
but it was
it's actually
good.
it's a good level. It's a great level actually. I was very impressed by that one. And it's like, but it's that in small doses. And I agree. It's like,
Mm.
dude, I wouldn't want them to make the whole campaign to be on that little island. Because even Black Ops 3, right, is the last time you had a co-op campaign, that still jumps all over the place. I mean, literally and figuratively. But it stays interesting because it's going to all these different unique settings and things like that. And I'm sure Black Ops 7 will to some extent, but I also am a little skeptical if the whole thing is going to be just on this Avalon Island that was supposed to be a Warzone map or something.
Yeah, like if we didn't know that, then we would not think any different. But because we know it was supposed to be used for BO6 and Warzone, it's kind of like, we'll have to see what they do. Like, I'm sure they've done a great job with what they originally made and then had to reuse. It's an
Sure.
unusual scenario to see. And then
Now,
if you didn't know, then you didn't know.
did they not use the Avalon map? I mean, I don't know if you know for sure, but like, did they not use this Avalon map in Black Ops 6 because they were doing Verdansk? Or
I genuinely don't know. Like, I don't know if we'll ever know. But what the rumors were was that yeah, Black Ops 6 was going to be getting this original Warzone map. It's going to be Avalon, and like the game launches, people fly out of bounds out on multiplayer maps, and they can like fly and see the whole map, like low res, like no geo loaded in, and
yeah,
you're like,
yeah.
okay, like it exists. We've seen this in other games like MW 2019. You can fly around and see the whole of Verdansk before Warzone was announced. It's like, okay, cool. I'm pretty sure you could do the same for Al Mazrah and MW2. So it's like we were kind of used to it. And I feel so bad for Treyarch because it's like, I don't know how they keep getting in this scenario where they make a BR map and it gets scrapped for Verdansk. And then they make another BR map for their next Black Ops game and it gets scrapped for Verdansk. So it's like, yeah, we've not had a Treyarch BR map in this modern era at all.
And
John,
and
we
the
also
bl-
haven't had a Treyarch campaign. Like,
yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
this is a Raven campaign. That was a whole thing I wanted to talk about real quick. Was I'm like, well, this is a Treyarch game technically, but they've pretty much outright said that this campaign is like a Raven project, as
yeah.
was Black Ops 6 mostly, as was Cold War's campaign. Um, I'm like, to my knowledge, I don't think, dude, that's insane. I don't think we've had a proper Treyarch campaign since Black Ops 3. I'm like, what?
Yeah, that's crazy. Like, I get it. Like, Treyarch are just so busy now, and COD has just gotten so much bigger than it was that, like,
Yeah.
they can't take on doing it. But it is strange, isn't it?
hmm
And, like, I remember, like, years ago, I think we went to Treyarch for, like, DLC 2 for BO4, Ancient
Yeah.
Evil, and
Ancient
we had,
Evil.
like, a little studio tour. And I
Yep.
think someone, like, asked a question or something about Black Ops. And, like, Jason said that Black Ops 1's campaign was made in, like, 9 months,
Yeah.
something stupid like that, like
hmm
really quick last minute, and it somehow ended up being that good. So
Yeah.
it's kind of like if they even had a short amount of time, could they still make a good campaign? Like, I don't
Hmm.
know, but yeah,
I,
it's a bit strange that Treyarch don't make their own campaigns exclusively anymore.
and that's another reason. Well, number one, you're right. Is like they did throw Black Ops 1. Black Ops 1, from what I understand, developmentally was like a mess until it wasn't. There was this moment where it all snapped and then it all kind of zipped together perfectly near the end, but it was a mess for most of it. But as far as the campaign goes, this is another reason why I'm saying I'm like, it's time for Treyarch to find a new IP, is because, well, it's not even really their IP anymore, Like, Black Ops is not only very old Treyarch, but Treyarch is not even making Black Ops anymore. Like, Raven's making the campaign. So I'm like, Raven is capable of some good stuff. Like, I actually quite enjoyed a lot of the Cold War campaign. I was
Same,
a little bit less enthusiastic on the Black Ops 6 campaign.
same.
But I'm sure they're capable of making. But I will say this: the Black Ops 6 campaign, gameplay wise, I think was maybe one of the best. Just from like a purely gameplay systems perspective, it was really fun. The story was not there for me, but I'm just like, man, please, if we could get like the old storytelling of the original Black Ops games and how intelligent and well written those were, married with the better gameplay systems of more modern Call of Duty, bro, we would be in for something so special. I'm like, that's best case scenario, but maybe that's a pipe dream at this point. I don't know, man.
Did you guys play Blackout a lot?
Yeah, I
played a
did.
fair
Yeah.
amount.
I just cannot believe they've never given them another chance, like you said, Chop, of making another map. Like, that map was so good. But one of the best BR maps I've ever played in my life. I would probably say Blackout. I'd probably say Blackout or the original Fortnite map would probably be my favorite BR maps of all time. They're right
I
there.
think Blackout
neck and
is quite special.
They just got it, man. Like, for their first ever like BR, they just got it. Like, they sprinkled little Treyarch POIs all around, and it just felt so good. It was so colorful.
Yeah.
Like, it was, and arguably, like, I guess it really depends what sort of BR game you're looking for, but like that style where you need to find weapons, you don't have loadouts, loot base, you got to loot your perks, you got to loot your attachments. Like, there's genuine like luck and skill involved. Like, yeah, it is a real shame. Like, I just don't understand
how
how
sandboxy, man. That like such as it's a very different approach to like modern Warzone. Not Doug, not the person, but like Warzone as is now. But it was very sandboxy. It was very loot based, and yeah, the map, I would agree, T-Dog, was actually incredible.
I would love to talk to somebody about that. Like, who was it? Vandahar in charge of?
We got to get Big Von on the.
I think it was
on the horn.
Like, I remember him talking about it, obviously, but I don't know if he was like the guy who was in charge, like making decisions and stuff.
I think it was like mostly him and like Dan Bunting, but
yeah,
mostly those two. I'm pretty sure.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, they I think they nailed it. I think we've talked about this on other podcasts. I just, the way Call of Duty is now with Warzone, it just doesn't encourage me to play it. You go and you drop. It's the first person to get their loadout the quickest possible way, and it just gets rid of that, finding a good gun, finding a good attachment for it. And I don't know. I thought they nailed it with Blackout, and obviously it had a lot of work. There's maybe if they would have added like a reboot van like Fortnite over time and more updates to the backpack, and the armor system wasn't the best at the level 3, but for like having
it had some clunkiness, but
what was it, 8 months or something they said that they did it in? I mean,
like
come on,
I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
What you can't ask for much more in 8 months, in my opinion. You did a pretty good job, and imagine if they would have had to flesh that out for 3 years or something.
I feel like what I'm starting to realize, and maybe correlation does not equal causation, but I'm thinking, man, in a lot of these Call of Duty projects that got slapped together really quickly ended up being some of the best
bangers.
Like Black Ops 1's campaign. Black Ops, the entirety of Black Ops 3 was built in like 9 months. That's something. Like, Blackout was built kind of shorthanded. Like, all of these things that the devs had to like go turbo mode on, it almost feels like they ended up better because of it. Now, I'm not advocating for like dev crunch or anything, but I'm just saying, like,
maybe
they
weren't
like pressed against the wall, they seem to do their best work.
Yeah, maybe they weren't thinking, like double thinking or something, I don't know.
Yeah, they knew they just had to lock in and get it done.
Yeah.
So I mean, campaign should be. I'm curious about it. I'm a little skeptical of the format, but I'm willing to give it a try, and I'm interested to see what they do with this story material, given that it's like how important it is to the Black Ops universe. So we'll see. As far as multiplayer, I mean, again, we know a lot less about that, but there were some leaks recently that somebody allegedly got like wall running in the COD HQ working, which they suspected was leftover or from Black Ops 7, but from what it sounds like, they said it's not exactly wall running. It's like a wall jump, and they call it the next evolution of Omni movement, whatever that means. So I don't know if you have any insight or anything that you want to share or opinions in regards to like the wall jumping and wall running situation, or just what you expect out of the multiplayer to begin with.
It's confusing because obviously we got that leak like the other week, but it sort of contradicts what the COD pod said, because they're, again, we were talking just before the podcast on like the marketing and how it's a little bit unusual this year, but they're drip feeding like the smallest drip possible. And it's like on the COD pod, they answered a question about, jetpacks and wall running, and they say one thing, but then we get those leaked screenshots, and it's like, this looks a bit more futuristic and exosuity than what you guys were making out.
What did they say on the COD pod exactly? Do you
Oh,
remember?
I'm gonna look it up right now. All I remember was like
Did
the
they
question
say wall
involved
jump?
the question involved. I'm pretty sure the question involved exosuits.
Uh-huh.
And they denied that there was.
Do you think
I'm
that's
trying to remember
just an answer because they don't want? I feel like exosuits just has this negative connotation now.
Yeah, that's true. And
I
also,
don't know.
when you
I don't know, man. Like it might.
I think there's
exosuits now
people that
could be
love
like-
it, but
Sure, sure.
the casual Bill that just got off work here's exosuit.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough.
I think he's out. Unfortunately.
Mhm. Oh, I'm trying to remember if it was the leak that said it was a wall jump or if it was the COD pod that said it was a wall jump. But yeah, they have been very particularly quiet on that front. So I'm wondering, like, I'm trying to remember what it is they actually said on the COD pod.
Yeah, I'm just trying to find it now.
But I mean, either way, we were talking a little bit about we had the Sledgehammer developer on, and he was talking about like the reason that they were going in the direction of doing advanced movement for Call of Duty in the first place was because after Ghost, the criticism was so apparent that like, oh my God, this is just the same game every year, that people wanted something different. And so the logical response to that was to make an advanced movement system. And thus, like, the jetpack jump was born. Now, it feels like if there is advanced movement in Black Ops 7, at this point, it doesn't feel like it's because like they want to make it like a genuine innovation necessarily. It almost feels like a response to, well, we kind of have to because it's a futuristic COD, and like it would be weird if there wasn't some kind of wall running or jetpack or whatever. Do you know what I mean? Like they're not doing it out of the sense of really trying to innovate. Maybe they are. Maybe they are trying to innovate Omni movement. But it feels like more of a response to boots on the ground COD, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think like back in the day, it was so difficult for COD because they were doing like the 2 year and then into 3 year dev cycle. It's almost like every time the community is in an outrage wanting something, they don't get it for 3 years. So it's like everyone back
Yeah.
in, was it Ghosts? People were like, oh my God, I'm so sick and tired of this. Like, I want something really different.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
they're like, yo, bet. Like, thank God, because we're working on such a different game for you. And I remember at the time Advanced Warfare came out, or when it was revealed, people were so happy. They were like, oh my God, this is actually like true innovation. This is something
Yes.
different for COD. Like, thank God.
Mhm,
And then a year later, we get Black Ops 3, and people are like, I don't know if I want that anymore. And by the time Infinite Warfare came around, yeah, people were hating that. And then COD are
Yep.
like, boots on the ground, guys, boots on the ground. But I guess it's been long enough now where, I don't know, maybe it's almost like dials almost. So like, okay, we'll turn this up a little bit. We'll see what the reaction is. If people like it, okay, we'll continue that. They don't like it, we'll turn it back down a little bit. So I guess this hopefully is like a middle ground where it's not just simply boots on the ground. There's a little bit of spice added in there, a little bit of advanced movement, but it's not going to be like exosuits where you're double jumping like 15 feet in the air and boosting and dashing. Like the wall running stuff from the like leaked gameplay, it kind of made it seem that there is wall running, but it's not going to be like BO3 or IW where like it's an infinite length until you fall off the wall or until you jump off. It's like it seems that there'll be like momentum that will carry you for a certain distance, and then naturally, like in real life, you would just lose your momentum and fall down. And I'm
like that video
down
that
for
got
it.
leaked, do you think that was real or was that fake, or like what do you make of that leaked video?
It's difficult because like some leakers are saying that like it's a toggle that's just been in the game since launch. Like it's just literally there. But it's hard to like pinpoint if it's a BO7 specific thing or if it's something that they might have been like
Just playing with
years ago, right? Because
Yeah,
it's COD HQ, it's all that unified engine, so it's hard
Yep.
to
Could be
figure out if it
anything,
was
sure.
if it was set for this game or if it's set for a future game or whatever. Like we genuinely don't really know, but like I'm kind of down for a little bit of advanced movement.
Oh, me too.
I know
And
about you guys.
no, absolutely. I think some of my favorite multiplayer experiences have been the advanced movement ones.
Yep.
I mean, Black Ops 3 is one of my favorite MPs of all time. And I feel like that was the movement system that got it the most right. Like, we were actually just talking to Greg, and he was saying on the Advanced Warfare jetpack, like they initially had it, it's just like a vertical jump. You click the button once and you go a certain distance. And apparently they already had like a feathered system developed before the game launched, kind of like a nuanced like Black Ops 3 version of the movement system. But it was too late to implement that into Advanced Warfare, so they went with just like the normal vertical jetpack movement. But I'm like, damn, I think that would have been interesting insofar as Black Ops 3 definitely got it the most right in that capacity, but I don't know how you go past that point in terms of innovating advanced movement. But I think that was the best system we've had, and it's hard for me to conceptualize a system that beats that for me.
Black Ops 3. I don't. We talked about this maybe one podcast shop too, of over the years, and when I went back and revisited multiplayer for Black Ops 3, this could be a wild opinion, but over the years, I just think that could be the best Call of Duty multiplayer of all time.
It's up there for me. It's at least top 3, and on a good day, I might put it top 1.
Maps,
I don't even think
amazing.
that's a hot take.
Yeah, I guess you automatically think MW2 or Black Ops 2 for most people, COD 4 or something like that. But dude, you play that game now, the graphics are still amazing. The guns, like I feel like that's one of the as a COD nerd, we're all COD nerds, so we can kind of think of all the guns, but BO3 has like super memorable guns to use. I said the maps already.
Definitely.
And just the overall with the specialists, I felt like they really got that right, where it kind of gave some variety to the game, where it wasn't just spawn, die, spawn, die, spawn, die. And then obviously the wall running, where it was kind of controlled but fun and not crazy and herky jerky like AW. I don't know. I played it the other day, just was streaming it a little bit, and I'm like, man, this is 10 years old. Like, it just doesn't feel 10 years old.
Yeah, that's crazy. I think an even wilder part, though, is that so hard to imagine we get something exactly like that again, just because of, all of the developers and designers pretty much across the entire game. Most of those guys just aren't even there anymore. We don't got no Vonderhaar, there's no Blundell, no Dan Bunting, no Mark Lamia. You know what I mean? Like, I was just like, damn, the people that made these iconic MP or zombies or campaign experiences aren't there. As much as I love BO3's multiplayer, I don't think we'll ever see anything quite like that again. At least not for a long time. But I guess the other thing with MP, I'm sure, John, you saw like those leaked screenshots that were like from a Xbox promotional thing or whatever. I don't know if you had any thoughts on those, or like even just as far as the look of the game, or I don't know if you gleaned anything interesting from that. Those 2 screenshots that were floating around.
Yeah, I mean, when I saw them, I was like, yo, I think that already the game has a little bit more of like a unique identity to something like BO6. I'm like, I like what I'm seeing. Like, you got a character with like a sort of Master Chief visor on. That looks pretty cool. The other character, like, it looked like they had almost like gear on, where it has like a little screen that was displaying stuff, and I was like, yo, what if that's like the new HUD? Like, what if your ammo and grenades and stuff were like projected
on your arm?
Yeah, like projected on your wrist or something. I'm like, that looks cool.
What was it, AW? They kind of did that, where like the ammo counter was like projected kind of like on your gun or something like. Am I thinking of that right?
Yeah, the IMR, wasn't it? IMR had it projected on it.
Yeah. That was really cool.
Yeah, like, if I hope that element actually carries on into the game, and like I wasn't just like tripping when I looked, but like the what I was seeing I was liking. But a big sort of like opinion that a lot of people were saying on Twitter is that like the colors of the game just look a little bit sort of like Modern Warfare,
not like a Treyarch game.
Yeah, like, long gone are the days where you, like you said, BO3, it still looks amazing 10 years on. Like, it's so colorful, it's so vibrant, it's so popping. Like, we don't need this like it's trying to be like gritty, authentic Modern Warfare, but then like we're in the future, so you don't have to follow those rules. Like, yeah, it's funny because we look at stuff like that, and then you look back in the day to like Call of Duty Ghosts, and that is probably the dullest COD game visually that we've ever had, where
Yeah,
it was
yeah.
just brown and gray and dark and dull. But like you said, Tyler, like it kind of didn't look like a Treyarch game in the
Yes.
sense of the art style and the color. Like they do that so well, and that's sort of like a bit of a trademark for Treyarch. It'd
Yeah.
be nice to see that to help it visually stand out. But from a perspective of like the outfits and stuff, the like default mil sim, it looked good. Like I was
Hmm.
happy with what I'm seeing. And yeah, like again, the going slightly quickly back to the multiplayer topics of the like the wall running and the jetpacks. The COD pod said that they can confirm there is no wall running or jetpacks, but an evolution of Omni movement. But in the screenshots, you see players to the back with like it looks like they have exosuits on, and then you see a character like doing full on Omni movements. So you know Omni movements like that is 100% coming back. But the funny part is the character is like doing a side jump whilst looking that way. You can see his legs are like that way, but he's pointing that way. But there's no physical like there's no platform where he could have done that. So then it makes you think, hang on a minute, is there any element where he could boost up in the air to then Omni movement slide that way?
Oh, or even like kind of like an Advanced Warfare like thrust like to the side type of thing.
Yeah, exactly. That's kind of like that made me question like, it sort of it didn't answer it just raised more questions than it did answer it. And I guess in a way that's probably a good thing from Activision's point of view, because that leak was like everyone's like, oh, Activision leak everything every year. It's intentional. But it's like one of them, it says like give your feedback on Slack in this channel. It's like there's no way they would do that
Yeah, yeah.
on purpose. Like there's no way.
That's funny, man. That okay. Well, that's curious because now if if it's not a wall run and it's not exactly a wall jump, but there might be some kind of I think there's something going on there, but it's not quite just a traditional boots on the ground, which I'm okay with. I do agree though that the actual like the Milsim outfits in that leak looked great.
Hmm.
Design wise, those look fantastic. But the other side of that is dude, I've been talking about this for years. Is like I worried about the homogenization of the studios. Now all of the art styles just look all the same, and
Yeah.
they just conglomerated into this like indistinguishable modern warfare-esque art style that we cannot escape from. And that just every studio years ago, their games kind of appealed to different people. There was Black Ops fans, there was diehard Modern Warfare fans. We don't have that anymore. Like visually and even to some degree from a gameplay perspective, the games are much more the same than they are different. And that's with, like, dude, you load up Call of Duty now and you see every goddamn studio under the sun worked on this game. Like Treyarch, Sledgehammer, Activision Shanghai, like you see all the things and they all participate to some extent, I'm sure, in the art direction. So now they all kind of look indistinguishable. Same thing with like even the campaign trailer that we saw with the showcase. I actually loved the trailer as far as what it was. But
Me too.
But it like I don't know. Part of me thinks that it didn't seem like COD at first because of the way it was presented, but like it still has the Call of Duty like cinematic distinguishment, for lack of a better word. I could tell it was like a Call of Duty cinematic now that I look at it. It looks like those in-game cutscenes that they make now, or not in-game, but the post-mission cutscenes that they make now. But I just point in all that is I would really like Treyarch to have their unique, somewhat more arcadey, cartoony art direction once again. That was like not too over the top, but it was like elevated reality. I thought was really neat.
Do you think with the success of MW19, they kind of had a shift? Because that's a more realistic and grounded take, and it blew up. The numbers were crazy, and it was the most popular COD. And now it just seems like that's what they're kind of trying to chase again. Even the Black Ops games, they don't have that pop anymore.
I think I think it's less that Modern Warfare 2019 itself was successful and more the fact that like since then the studios have kind of joined this big conglomerate, and now that's what you're getting is like the studios are now more working closely together than they ever did before. So there's not these clear distinctions of style there used to be back in the day. And I think that all started pretty much after Modern Warfare, but I don't think it was because necessarily of Modern Warfare. I think that just kind of happened to be how it was. But yeah, Call of Duty games are only, and especially, you know, them joining like this unification of this new engine that I'm pretty sure happened right after Vanguard or something. They said,
Yeah.
"Yo, get with it. We're getting on this COD proprietary engine." Um, whereas there was a few different variations of the engine they were using before that like all kind of had their distinct properties, but now it's just all the same. So I don't know. We'll see. I am sad to see like the art direction not really shine through as much. They still have opportunities to do that, especially in regards to like the actual gameplay stuff in the multiplayer and in zombies, which we can get to in a second too. I don't know if you all had any more thoughts on multiplayer or anything like that.
No, I think you were talking about the trailer too, just real quickly. I
Mhm.
still shocked when that came on and it was Call of Duty. I was like, wow. It
I
seemed like it was the first time in a long time where you didn't know it was COD off the first 4 seconds of the trailer.
Yeah, I felt the same way that I felt like watching the Black Ops 3 trailer back the day. I always remember where I was weirdly, like when a COD trailer dropped. And
Yeah.
I
You always
remember I was at
remember where you are when this COD trailer dropped.
I was at a Buffalo Wild Wings
Oh,
when the Black Ops 3 trailer dropped, and I went to the bathroom to go watch it, and I was like, "What the hell is this?"
Yeah.
Like, because it was just so like not what I was expecting, but like that ended up being a good thing. Um, and low key, I got kind of the same feeling watching the Black Ops 7 trailer. I was like, "What the hell is this?" But
Hmm.
in typical Black Ops fashion, if they can make me do that, well, I mean, even when it comes to zombies, same thing with the Shadows of Evil trailer. I remember where I was. I was in a movie theater. Don't remember what movie I was watching, but I was in a theater waiting for the movie to start. The Shadows of Evil trailer comes out. I watch it and I'm like, what the hell was that?
Yeah.
Um, Shadows of Evil is my favorite zombies map of all time now. So I'm okay with being like uncomfortable, or I guess like even maybe a little skeptical about a trailer when it comes out, because typically they can win me over that way if it's like going in its own weird direction in a good way. So
Hmm.
I'm optimistic about that fact still.
Yeah.
I think it is also there's an argument to be made that with your example shop, like you remember where you were when these trailers dropped. It's like Call of Duty wasn't new, but like there was still a lot of untapped innovation that they hadn't like delved into before. And also like it wasn't our careers necessarily at that
Yeah,
point. So now
sure,
it's like we expect a certain thing, like we know what's gonna happen, like we expect it to be like this. So like I guess
sure.
from their
That's it.
perspective,
Yeah,
it's like we've dropped trailers so many times over the years for these COD games. Like we need to do something slightly different, slightly like avert people's expectations somewhat. And so yeah, I think that's probably what their mission was with that Black Ops 7 trailer. I think they achieved it because yeah, like watching that showcase live, I genuinely didn't know that was Black Ops 7. Like I'm
Yeah.
watching this and I'm like, dude, what game is this?
is this Alan Wake 3? Like, what am I
Yeah,
watching?
yeah, exactly. I was like, is this like, yo, that guy looks like Alan Wake. Oh, it's not Alan Wake. Oh, okay. But it's
Mhm.
funny that when people were watching that showcase, and again, they didn't realize it was Black Ops 7, a lot of people were like, dude, if I didn't realize if they didn't tell me that game was Call of Duty Black Ops 7, I would be so hyped. I would buy this game. But because it came up saying it's Call of Duty Black Ops 7, I am not excited. And I'm like, that's such a
Come
shame.
on.
I
Yeah,
get
for
it, but
sure.
that's such an interesting mindset to have.
Yeah, that's a little like that's a little too far on the other side of like I just hate COD to hate it type of thing, where
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
like
exactly
they come
that.
out with an amazing trailer yet you still can't give it its flowers just because it's COD. Like that's not right.
Yeah, it's
Um,
just yeah, exactly that. But another point again with the trailer thing is like if you look bigger picture at like COD, it kind of goes back to the topics at the start of the podcast where it's like, you know, if you were Activision trying to think of where am I going to do a COD game, like what have we not done yet? And like
hmm,
the obvious answer is like the Black Ops 2 sequel. It's like at this point, it is kind of hard at least I'm glad it's not my job, but it's like trying to come up with like what the next like few years of COD is like, because it's like the tried and true formula is, well, we've got Modern Warfare, we've rebooted that, we're going to do several Modern Warfare games. Like the rumors are we're getting a fourth Modern Warfare next year. It's like Black Ops, we're not going to reboot that, we're just going to continue that. We're now at the seventh one. It's like we said, something's got to give and something's got to change eventually. We can't just keep getting Modern Warfare and Black Ops games. But at the point back in the day, there was still so much they hadn't done. But now
Yeah.
there is so much they have done. It's like, my God, what can they do at this point?
Yeah.
Like, where do they go next?
I don't, as far, dude, I mean, the Modern Warfare thing is crazy because if they didn't reboot that series, if they just kept on with, we would be at Modern Warfare 8. Like, you know what I
That's
mean?
frightening.
Like, it would actually be the it's like Fast and Furious now. Like, it would actually be a parody of itself.
Yeah. That's the best
so-
example.
Speaking of Fast and Furious, real quick, did you hear that they're bringing back Paul Walker's character in that? Did you hear him come on stage and say that?
No.
Yeah. Apparently that's what's happening. But
Wait, really?
a great example. I mean, they've just gone so far out of
my.
left field that they're coming back to the street racing. They're coming back to Paul Walker's character is going to be revisited. So
Which one's the one where they go to space?
I believe it was 8. I think it was right after, because 7 was the last one Paul Walker was in. Dude, I was a Fast and Furious fanboy. Like, that was one of my favorite movies of all time. And then Fast 5 like was a perfect end. Did you guys watch Fast 5?
Yeah.
Oh, what a perfect ending. They rob the bank, they steal that dude's money that's a bad guy. They all like live happily ever after. But then the problem was the movie broke all those records. And then you know what that means. Fire up that machine.
Can't stop the money
We
train.
cannot stop it. So they just kept rolling. And like you said, they went to space. I think 9 was the submarine underwater that they were like driving on top of. And then 10, I can't remember what they did in 10 that was wacky too. I don't know why I started talking about this, but I just saw it on Twitter that he went on stage and was like, yeah, back to the street racing. Well, yeah,
It's
you did
Menendez
9
coming
movies
back,
in
dude.
space all of a sudden. Let's hope we're going back.
Listen, Paul Walker coming back. That's Menendez coming back in this game.
Yeah, literally.
I still think the Menendez thing is like the Scarecrow from Batman kind of situation.
Yeah, I don't think it's literally real in the context of the story. I would agree with that, but still, it's like the irony of, well, I mean, the real life tragedy is that the actual voice actor for Menendez passed away a few years ago, so it's not even him anymore. But also, like, and according to the game, Menendez died, so they're kind of like, I don't know. I don't think he's literally back, but
He's not
plays a role
literally
in it.
back, but he's back.
But he's back, yeah.
Yeah,
It is
and
Fast and Furious, low key. Like,
It really is. But you could also argue that, like, if you reflect on every Call of Duty campaign there's ever been, I mean, okay, outside of Makarov,
Mhm.
Menendez is easily the most iconic villain in COD history.
1000%.
Like, outside of Makarov, which I would argue Menendez was built up to be an even bigger, better villain than
So much better, yeah.
Makarov. Like, I guess at the time, like, there hadn't really been. Well, Modern Warfare obviously it had Menendez, but in Treyarch's court, they never had like a big bad villain in any of the campaign stories. So then with Menendez, and they just did it so well. Like, they just built up this character so well, and to this day, I still don't think any campaign past Black Ops 2 has had a memorable villain. Like, it's
No.
always the sort of like classic, oh, it's a cinematic like 7-8 hours with this baddie, but at the end he dies. They always take him out. I mean, Kevin Spacey was pretty decent.
That's the first person I
Yeah.
thought of was Kevin Spacey.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That just in my mind. But that's also kind of
performance,
controversial.
Did you see the, like, what Troy Marshall said about the original ending of Advanced Warfare? Did you ever hear about that?
Yeah. It came out a few years ago, didn't it?
Yeah. So basically, like,
I
the
don't remember
idea
what
was
happened.
the idea. Do you remember the last mission in Advanced Warfare where, like, he freezes you in your exosuit and you have your gun like this, and he like starts monologuing, and then he like runs away for no reason.
Yeah.
So that always made no sense to me, even when I was way younger. Like, before I could analyze these things more critically, like, that still never. I'm like, he had you right where he wanted you, and then he just runs away for no reason. But that's because that wasn't how it was supposed to go. The original ending was like, he has you frozen like this, and then he's like, every cause needs a martyr, and he like puts your gun to his head, and he like pulls the trigger like for you, and like offs himself, and then that's where the game ends.
Damn.
And they cut that for whatever reason. But I point on that is like, yeah, I mean, we haven't had anyone quite like Menendez. So I mean, we had like me in Infinite Warfare as the main villain.
I feel like Infinite Warfare was just like, hey, let's make a campaign and throw as many celebrities in this as possible. But they had
this, though. Yeah,
they had oh my god, they had Lewis Hamilton. They also had
McGregor.
Yeah, Conor McGregor for literally like a minute. Like, yeah, that was like cameo central.
That's when they definitely started to movieify them.
Yeah.
I will say, I actually really like Infinite Warfare's campaign.
I do too. I think it's a good one.
Likewise, yeah.
I think it's very good. But yeah, it's a very different approach. We just haven't had anyone quite like Menendez, and I fear that Menendez was made specifically in that time for Black Ops 2 story for that story. I don't think Menendez was meant to be like this big multi-game, multi-faceted villain over a whole span of the Black Ops timeline. I feel like he was meant for that story. And maybe they'll do something interesting in this game. That's definitely possible. But, you know, it might end up being what they did with Modern Warfare, where it's like Makarov, but worse in the reboot, where, you know, he's just not quite as there's not as much
menacing,
not as much bite there. Yeah. And a big part of that is like, small detail, but something I noticed was like the new Makarov in Modern Warfare 3, he's like always yelling and he's always shouting, whereas like you can't really find the original Makarov hardly ever raising his voice at all in the original games. He was so like cold and calculated that, in my opinion, made his presence more menacing, because you know this guy's like 100 steps ahead. He don't even have to break a sweat. But the new Makarov, he's just like always shouting, and it was just more like stereotypical villain. Whereas like I don't think they quite understood what made the original Makarov work so well. And I just hope to God they don't do that with Menendez, but we'll see.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah. Well, we can leave that for now, and if you wanna, we can talk a little bit about zombies if you like.
Yeah, you guys do your thing about zombies. Here's my one thing before you guys go on your rant. Make zombies simple for us people again. Now,
make zombies simple again.
Make zombies simple again, but also, and you talked about it earlier, Chop, was even Greg said this in the podcast. Not everybody likes the things. Call of Duty wants you to play everything now.
Yeah.
Make zombies what was zombies back in the day. That's why we all liked it. That's why I liked it. It was different. When I played multiplayer, I felt like I was playing multiplayer. Zombies, it was this chilling experience, I guess is the word. I don't know.
I'll bridge that by
get rid of the Warzone
no.
aspects too. Sorry, of plating and stuff.
No, man. I think I'm actually I have a few things to ask you in regards to this, but I'll bridge what you said by saying the thing I would like to see for zombies is like to get the gameplay to a point where the gameplay itself becomes the reward, where when I play, maybe like Black Ops 1 and Black Ops 2, those games just inherently feel good to survive, because like that's clearly where like the gameplay loop and the emphasis is, where I get a lot of satisfaction of like surviving rounds in those older games. And it is a bit more of like a challenge, and it's a little more stressful to do, but just the right amount of challenge. Zombies now, as you know, me and John have said in this podcast, that it's like we've done that for so long that zombies was like now it's just trying to give us like this other thing of like what to do other than surviving, which is like where a whole Easter eggs come into play and main quest and all that stuff. But again, if I had it my way, I would really like them to make the focus of just merely survival satisfying again, and make that challenging, and make that like the thing that addicts me. Like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest, lads. I've been addicted to playing Elden Ring Night Rain, And in a lot of ways, it's actually very similar to zombies. Like, I'm not gonna lie. I feel like I fell in love with it for the same reasons that I did zombies initially. And to me, it's proof that you can make an addicting gameplay loop if it's like the proper amount of challenge, amplified by the proper reward for doing so. And I, of course, still want Easter eggs to be in the game and all that stuff. Like, I want there to be this hidden layer for people who really, really want to take it to the next level. But I think that goes in tandem with what you say about making zombies simple again, is like make it conceptually simple again, but make the gameplay itself challenging. Like, man, the inflation of like round survival we've had over the years is, they said it back in the day, rounds 10 to 20 in World at War was like, that was supposed to be end game. Like, you weren't really supposed to get past round 20. Round 20 is where the party just gets started in modern COD. Like, I don't know. I think we have a warped perception of like what is a high round anymore and like what survival in these games are now. I'm curious what you think, John, because obviously, like, we love our Easter eggs. We're zombies players. Do you think that, would you prefer it to kind of focus on a more satisfying like survival gameplay loop again, or do you think we're just past that and should double down on like making complicated and fun and complex Easter eggs?
I feel like there's a world where we could have both.
Yeah.
And it's so good that I'm on this podcast talking to you guys now, because it's still fresh in my head. But I'm working on a video that sort of dives into the very backstory origins of like the COD Zombies development, like how it came to be from World at War, where like that is the most bare bones sort of like survival gameplay style of zombies that you could get. And I was watching an interview of Jason Blundell and Craig Houston, who's the lead writer for Zombies. And they were at an event in like June or July of 2015. So BO3 was just revealed, Zombies that is, and the interviewers mentioned about how they played all of World at War, they played like all of Black Ops 1, but like BO2 it started to get a bit crazy. And they like emphasized that like BO3 has that craziness and that story with like all these characters introducing and all these storylines, whatever. But they said like fundamentally, like the gameplay is still there, and the challenge and what you like originally loved about zombies is still there, as well as this separate layer of like story and depth and Easter eggs and whatever. But you don't have to like interact with any of that whatsoever. You can solely just enjoy the gameplay that we're renowned for in this, just as much as you did before. And I guess like in a case of like Tyler, it's an interesting viewpoint, because you say like it's kind of complicated now.
Yeah.
And in a way, I kind of agree. Like in a way, Treyarch must think, oh, we're trying to like make all the systems similar to like multiplayer and Warzone. So we've got plating and we've got like armor vests and all this stuff, but like, and salvage. But it's like, it's more economy and more stuff to be thinking about in zombies, where it's not natural to what people know and love of zombies like back in the day. Like
even the mini
thing,
map. The mini map with 400 things on. I'm like, what is all that?
Yeah, like maybe in Treyarch's eyes,
people disable that, like, or at least like zombie players do. They always go and we can turn that off. Yeah, it's like most players don't want that. What I find interesting, John, I'm curious your thoughts on this. I think we talked about this in the past, but like, Treyarch now has been very open about their goal is to get as many players completing main quests as possible. Like, they want to raise that number up. And look, I don't want to like straw man their argument. I want to steel man the perspective that they're coming from, which is like, okay, imagine you're a dev and you make something really insanely cool. You make this crazy like boss fight or this moment that happens after an Easter egg, and maybe 1% of the players even ever see it. Like, that is like,
must
okay,
be demoralizing.
Sure. And it's like, I get that. Yeah, that honestly, that's fair. Now, I will say it's not quite the same, because the amount of people that would watch Easter egg completions on YouTube to get that experience is, I think you kind of have to account for that too. But, the point is, they would make something amazingly cool, but only a very small fraction of people would ever see it. Fair enough. But Now their goal is like to make as many people as possible to completing these main quests. And then at that point, like, are they even Easter eggs anymore? And should that be the goal? You know, like, should from the beginning, like, should the goal to be making everybody completing these Easter eggs, where it's like, I kind of agree with what you said in that Jason and Craig interview a lot, where it's like, yeah, we have this extra layer of depth that's very interesting if you want to sink your teeth into that, but to have fun, you don't have to interact with any of that by any means. That's what I love about Elden Ring, is that game genuinely does not give a fuck about how much of the game you do or do not see at all.
Yeah.
And I really like that approach, where it's like, now directed mode is literally, hey, look at this cool thing we made. You have to see this. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. It's just a very different like approach. And I don't know if you have preference on like which way you would go if you had to choose or anything. But yeah, that was my thoughts.
Yeah, it's an interesting one because it's like, yeah, their goal is to raise the percentage of how many players complete Easter eggs. Like, they put so much time and development into these Easter eggs and these set pieces and boss fights and whatever, that they want as many people as possible to experience it. And I have no problem with that. Like, I agree. It must feel really like demotivating for millions of people to play like your game, and like 0.1% of people actually like get to the end. I guess it's like buying Elden Ring and not completing Elden Ring.
Yeah.
It's kind of like,
and being a dev is like, oh my God, I made this whole world for you though. And you saw like the credits basically, like, or just,
It's interesting because it's like, you could argue that, say, like someone like you, Tyler, like you don't experience that stuff in a zombies map, but it doesn't take away from your enjoyment of a zombies map.
Never cared to do the Easter eggs once in my life.
Which is probably still load up Transit or Mob of the Dead or Diaries or whatever, and just have fun.
I would just have fun. I had no desire to figure it out. My brain just can only handle so much. I'm just like, shoot zombie, die, move on, try to. So Easter eggs, no, like, I don't think it's a big deal. Like, if I never did one, I would be okay with it. But I do enjoy, like, Chopper took me through a couple of them. Very fun, but like the one on Moon, there ain't no way I'd be able to do that by myself. Like, zero chance without finding a guide or something.
Yeah. They were very obscure back then. That maybe, Tyler, like, you know, because you might have a curious position on this, because I've taken you through all of the Black Ops 6 Easter eggs. And we did Mob of the Dead together, and we did Moon so far. And so, like, can you tell just from like the way that the game is laid out and the steps are distributed, I guess, that like modern zombies is a lot more handholdy and like what you got to do next? And like you said, Moon, it's like I would have no clue what to do.
The part where you have the ball going from magnetized to magnetized, like, how in the world did you figure that out back in the day?
That's just how it was, man. Like, you just that's why they took so long to solve too, is because they were so weird and obscure, and the game would not even give you a hint in any direction of what you should do, that once you stumbled upon it, it was like a big deal. Where now, again, like, I know directed mode doesn't come out at the same time as a map dropping, but I mean, that literally is like an in-game tutorial on how to do the Easter egg, which, like, is just such a different way of conceptualizing zombies. Where, like, John, at the COD XP panel in like 2016, when Jason Blundell was down there, and he was like, lads, there will never be a tutorial mode for zombies.
And then the next game that
which is kind of ironic, because Black Ops 4 had a tutorial mode. I'm like,
you put it in.
Yeah, they did it. But yeah, that's just how it was. But that's like what I think from me and John's perspective, like, that's kind of what made it interesting, is like, that's what drew us in, was like, oh, there's something really hidden here that like nobody's discovered yet. You could be the one to figure it out.
Yeah.
Like, go in and dive deep and see what you can find, because likely you'll find somebody else or something that nobody else has discovered.
Did you guys both do were you creating content on that? Or you were Black Ops 3, right, Chopper?
I was like playing the game, but I wasn't making content. I was a little too young.
I feel like you could I feel like you could have just farmed back then. Like, the stream title is Easter egg hunting, and you're just like moving stuff around and clicking buttons, and
that's like what like Liam was doing, honestly. Like, back in the day. I mean, that's like streams were a lot less common back in the day, like in
Oh,
that era, way less
few
common.
streams.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
I was hunting Easter eggs, like Transit, like the game, like people got the game a little bit early, so that's not really a fair comparison. But like Die Rise and Mob of the Dead, like I hunted those Easter eggs, and I wasn't even live streaming, and it wasn't a case of like I didn't want to. I just didn't in my head think, oh, I should probably live stream hunting this Easter egg, because back in the day, like people didn't do that. It was NGT Zombies that was uploading like parts
Yeah.
to an Easter egg hunt, like part
Yeah,
52.
part 7 or part
Yeah.
52.
That's insane.
You would upload,
Yeah.
yeah. Oh my god, that's so funny. You're right. Like people would upload Easter eggs one step at a time. Like
Kind of typical,
Yeah.
honestly.
that's how wild it was, man. That's
Yeah,
so
like-
crazy.
Rather than live streaming, it was like, oh, if you figured out the next step, you're like, right, I'm going to upload a minute video on that so I can tell the whole world how to do this bit, and then we'll get stuck on this next bit, and then we'll wait and then upload then another minute video. Yeah, it was just
Mhm.
weird, but like kind of controversial. But I don't dislike the way that BO6 Easter eggs are like designed.
No, me neither.
But it comes from like a content creator like perspective, where like more so than ever before, I replay these maps and these Easter eggs like almost weekly for videos. Like if a new gun comes out, I need to test it, so I run it on like at least 2 Easter eggs, like
Yeah.
Terminus and like Citadel, to see what they're like in the boss fights. And it's like at this point, like it's just ingrained in my brain how to do it, but I'm sort of grateful that it's not more complicated than it is. Maybe it's
I was
because we're
about to
getting
say this.
older and
Sure.
like we have not necessarily less attention span, but like we just don't have the same like energy to like play a zombies map for 15 hours nonstop, trying to scrutinize every single like pixel in a
Mhm.
map. Like I like how it is now, but I would argue they could still tweak it a little bit to be a little bit more complicated, but not too much.
Yeah, yeah.
Because when an Easter egg's replayable, that's like good design.
Yes.
When it's
I know I've been very critical of directed mode, but the actual I would just say this though, like with my whole chest, the actual Easter egg design quests and the steps of all the maps, they're fantastic. Like the Easter eggs in Black Ops 6 are great. They're not
Mhm.
perfect. And yeah, I do agree maybe they could take a little step further in being a little bit more complex, but by and large, I mean, especially compared to Cold War's quests, Black Ops 6 is a marked improvement in like every single way. The boss fights are phenomenal.
Mhm.
They have a really good blend of making like engaging gameplay sequences where they're more action based, you know, kill this many zombies, do this thing, and then a little bit of puzzle stuff going on, but not like solving Morse code again. You know, it's
Yeah.
intuitive puzzles, and
Yeah.
that stuff is great to me. Black Ops 6 is like almost there as far as the optimal Easter egg design route, you might say.
Philosophy.
Yeah. It's very close. Maybe we'll get there in Black Ops 7, which I don't know if they're remaking. Okay, so in the trailer we saw like those prison bars. Do you think that's Mob of the Dead? Like, what do you think's going on with that?
Like I personally don't think it's Mob of the Dead, but like the Ghost of Hope on Twitter was like, yeah, that is Mob of the Dead. And I'm sort of here where I'm like, if I'm Treyarch, like, okay, remastering or remaking Transit makes sense. We haven't
Yeah.
gone there yet. It's a Black Ops 2 sequel. Let's remake the most popular fan favorite Black Ops 2 Zombies map. Like,
Sure.
okay, sure. But like Mob of the Dead, it's already been remade. Like we got Blood of the Dead. Like, are we just getting to get a faithful remaster in this game at that point? Like,
But we
to
couldn't
me-
because we don't have the actors anymore.
yeah, exactly. So like it would be the map faithfully remastered, but the characters wouldn't be. Like I'm kind of at a loss. Like Transit, it seems pretty much like, yeah, that is what we're gonna get for our launch map. But like Mob of the Dead, I just don't see it. It doesn't make sense. We've already been there. We've already done that. Like it's
And
like, okay, if they're gonna do Mob of the Dead, like, are we gonna do Buried? Are we doing Die Rise? Like,
Yeah.
you're just
Where does
doing
it
all
stop?
of BO2? Yeah,
I also
exactly.
don't even know how that would even make sense, like from the perspective of the story, yeah, I know they're gonna pull some like Dark Ether stuff where like they're gonna bring in different timelines and blah blah blah, and Premise is gonna come back or something. I don't know, but the reason for Mob of the Dead's existence was because Black Ops 2 back in the day wasn't working. So they're like, yo, we got to do something different. And then like Mob and Origins would be born. But yeah, and it's like we've had Blood of the Dead, but you can't do a Faithful Mob remake because we don't have those actors anymore. Or do we do a Faithful Mob remake from a gameplay standpoint, but with our new characters? And if so, are we still going to have like modern zombies mechanics? Or there's so many questions. I don't know.
Yeah, there's so many questions. Yeah, it's just like the only thing that makes sense is in the ending of Targeted Toe, and it shows like maps going in the Dark Ether, like literally fading to black.
Yeah,
Blood of the Dead is one that's shown. So I'm like, I mean, if they want to be like, yo, this is in the Dark Ether, I'm like, well, I mean, they did show that in 2019, so.
They did.
I mean, okay, fair play,
Back
but yeah,
to blood.
It's like it doesn't make sense. It like, yeah, are the mobsters there? No. Is Afterlife going to be there? Probably not. Are we playing as the current crew in Mob of the Dead? Are we playing as Premise in Mob of the Dead? But they were already in Mob of the Dead and Blood of the Dead. Like, yeah, I don't know.
I have so many questions. But as far as maps, I know T-Dog here likes a certain Black Ops 2 map. Do you?
There's a couple maps that I like.
See it come back? Okay, give us a rundown.
My favorite zombies maps?
I know it's Buried, right? Is your favorite?
I loved Buried, man. I mean, just special zombies map. I you know, it really is. When I think of, I don't know what it was about that map. That there was really nothing crazy about it, right? Really, besides the.
I mean, it was unique. David Vonderhaar said, "Yo, we're gonna make something really weird."
Yeah. And then what was it? Was the MK2 in that for the first time?
Oh yeah, introduction of the Ray Gun Mark II and the Paralyzer.
Yeah.
Time Bomb,
Vulture Aid.
They were really cooking in that game, man. They were really cooking in that game.
Well, here's the big thing, John. You can tell me what you think about this. Like, the biggest difference in design philosophy of old zombies versus new, I think it can be kind of boiled down to this. Old zombies used to make systems to fit maps. Modern COD Zombies makes maps to fit systems. Do you know what I mean? Like, Modern Zombies is making maps that it'll fit with our armor system, our weapon bench system, our pack-a-punch system, our rarity. You know what I mean? Like all these systems that are in place, they seem to like those, and they make maps that are compatible with those. Where like in the day, they would make a map and be like, does this system work for this map? Does Leroy work for Buried? Right? He can only be on Buried. He would not work on Mob of the Dead, you know, the same way that like the Wonder Fizz works on all BO6 maps, that type of thing. So I think that's kind of how you can boil it down to two different they really make maps to fit systems, where I think a lot of people this is maybe at the core of the like zombies is lacking personality argument, is like every map had a different, weird, unique system that for some people, one of those would really click. Like for Tyler, man loves Buried. Like whatever it was about that map really clicks with him. And that's great. Like everyone should have that map where it's like, damn, as a player, they understood me, you know?
Yeah, and also a map that has very unique gameplay aspects. Like for Tyler, it's Buried. Like there's stuff on Buried you literally can't get on any other map. But like with BO6, it's like outside of like a map specific wonder weapon and a boss fight, the experiences are so similar. Like outside of Shattered Veil, we've got like toxic zombie rounds instead of vermin. Like okay, cool. But like outside of that, like like Buried, like you'd go in because there's just it's like a sandbox of just all sorts of crazy stuff that you could do, and we don't really get that nowadays.
Well, that's the loadout thing too, is like like I said, the MK2 was in Buried. Well, the map before that, you couldn't get that one. Now, I think they probably did they bring it to like all the other ones after?
The Mark II to all the maps before then.
Yeah, but you're still starting with a pistol. You're still trying to find that gun, and like again, that's the urgency aspect of zombies that I really loved. Now you boot in with an XM4, and you're like, all right, the first round of zombies is literally you're wasting my time.
The game isn't even really like a survival mode anymore. Exactly. I mean, like we don't even rebuild barriers anymore. Like that's a thing of the past. There's
Yeah,
no
that's
like
sad. We lost that.
Carpenter's not a drop anymore.
Yeah.
I feel like that's when you can kind of tell the shift between like the approach zombies is taking for its design, and that happened in Cold War because in Black Ops 4, even though it was kind of pointless in that game, it was the weird bridge of like being a quest oriented game and also survival oriented game, but you could still rebuild barriers in BO4. It just didn't really matter that much.
Mm.
And then in Cold War, I'm pretty I don't know, maybe you can build, I think you can build barriers in D Machine. um but I'm pretty sure as the maps would go on, I don't think you could build barriers in like Forsaken and things like that. Um, the point is, they've definitely gone really far away from just it being about survival, where it's like back to the point when we started on this topic is I kind of want it to come back to that. I want a really challenging survival mode again that like makes me want to get better at it.
Yeah.
And in the process of me like playing it a lot and trying to get better, maybe I'll find some cool stuff that's hidden that like maybe I didn't see the first time around or whatever. You know, that's why I fell in love with zombies to begin with, and like that's the kinds of things I would like to see going forward for sure.
I agree. I feel like they can get a blend of the old with the new. I
Mhm.
saw a tweet and it's actually really like crazy to comprehend that there's now been equal Treyarch zombies with classic systems and there is Treyarch zombies with modern systems.
Wow.
And so like
Where do they cut that off at? Like at Cold
I'm
War?
try- yeah, I think so. The new they would include it as Cold War, potentially MWZ and
Mhm.
BO6.
And
You
Vanguard?
you could argue Vanguard as well. Although, yeah, I mean that did have armor plates, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that was just a weird time in itself. But yeah,
Yeah.
that it is hard to like comprehend that we've had equivalent now. But I
That's
definitely think
insane. What?
there is a world where they could bridge it. Like months ago, I played Citadel with Ali, Benny Central, and Wizite, and you
Mhm.
got a diehard Warzone player, an OG COD player, and a guy that dabbled in COD over the years but hasn't played it in a while. And they're playing zombies, and I'm carrying them through Citadel, which I would argue is maybe the hardest Easter egg. I don't know. There's a lot of stuff that involves every player having to like do their part.
Sure.
And like half of them didn't even know about weapon rarity. Like their weapons still like loadout
That's so
rarity
crazy.
because they have no idea. And they're like, I think it's like Benny like had hidden power. I told him bring it in, and he understood what it did. And they're like, why is your gun doing so much more damage? And I'm like, because he's upgraded. And they're like, but he doesn't have, but he hasn't
Didn't
like
pack
how
a
much
punch.
salvage is it? Yeah. And then there was the augment thing where someone was like, it costs me 9,000 salvage to like upgrade to like the highest rarity from it being purple. And I'm
Mhm.
like, that's not right. It's only 5,000. I'm like, yeah, no, it's saying 9,000 for me. And I'm like, that's another thing where like it's easy to argue that the game is like harder for new players. It's less
We talk about
accessible.
we have talked about that on multiple podcasts. They're going for catering to noobs, but again, we talked about it earlier today. Uh, Why'd they bring tuning in? If they're worried
Yep.
about catering to noobs, why are they bringing that in?
Mm-hmm.
It's just there's so many things that they bring in each Call of Duty where I don't think you guys are actually catering to noobs, or at least you don't get what you're saying. I don't think.
Yeah, it's tough. That's actually really funny. I mean, I feel like that's not the first time I've heard that about the rarity system being kind of obtuse, even for like modern COD zombie systems. Even though you would think it's intuitive due to like Warzone and stuff, you know, just people inherently kind of understand weapon rarity, but apparently not. So then at
Mm.
that point, I'm like, their goal of making zombies more accessible, are they even doing that? Or where I don't know, man. I always think older zombies like had the concept so simple. Yeah, man, get a gun and just survive. It's very easy. But
Yeah.
the skill in it is the figuring out how you do that effectively. Like that was always the fun part. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's tough. I guess my thought is my question for you is what do you want to see out of Black Ops 7 Zombies if there's any like gameplay systems that you maybe want to have back or things that you would like to have tweaked or even maps. I mean, some of the map leaks we've heard are kind of crazy, like this alternate timeline of New York and you know, like Japan and stuff like that. I mean, conceptually they sound wild, or like a space station near the moon. Um, those sound incredibly fun, and I think those could be engaging maps if done right. Do you think? Are you excited about the maps more, or are you hoping for like more and different gameplay systems?
I think it's hard to expect like new gameplay systems just seeing how Treyarch has been since Cold War. Like
Yeah,
the response from that was very much like we're not a fan of these systems. Like what we've spoken about for like casual players is overcomplicating it. They need to
sure.
strip some of it back. I'm sure they probably don't want to do that, but I think it's probably better if they strip some stuff back. But it's hard to go back to it being like bare bones and simple when we've had multiple games back to back of it having like, you know, spawning in with whatever weapon you want and loadout rarities being like Warzone and plating like Warzone, blah 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 blah. For me, I'm definitely more excited for maps because those map leaks sound like old Treyarch. Because the complaint and the sort of criticism from Cold War was like these maps are boring. Like
Yeah.
it's a military facility and a military facility and a military. It's all the same. BO6, I think they're really getting their footing in with what they're doing.
Yeah,
Some of the maps like Terminus, I think is gonna like stand the test of time of being a
Terminus
potential
is
like top
fantastic.
10 map. Like that's how you do it. Like the theming is just so good. The colors, the vibes, the tone, the like time
Yeah,
of night as well. Like again, that's what makes up classic zombies.
Terminus was banger
Terminus is
from
great.
my perspective. When we did that Easter egg, I was like, this had a little bit of remnants of Black Ops 2, in my opinion.
It's is very classic Treyarch, and it's memorable, and that's what you want out of a zombies map. I would even say like the Citadel is memorable for its own reasons, but even something like Shattered Veil is, I don't know, atmospherically more similar, but they've done some interesting things with it. Like, dude, I just love that moment where you find that like random hidden room, that thing in the wall, and then you go back into this cave, and there's just like this statue of the Greylorn from Modern Warfare Zombies. There, I'm like, what the hell? That I like. That's old Treyarch right there. Like
Mhm.
things like that are weird but still kind of makes sense. That's old Treyarch, and that is stuff like that works for me. And I agree that the new map leaks conceptually sound like they're in a similar vein. So I would
Have
love to
they
see what they
talked
do
about
with that idea.
another map for you guys
They've not
for this
even
game?
they've not confirmed like anything really. All they've said
Mm-mm.
is the zombies takes place in the heart of the dark ether.
Are,
That's all
are you
they've
talking
said.
about like a new map for BO6, Tyler?
Yeah, yeah.
Or
Wasn't there supposed to get? Weren't you
Oh,
supposed to get one more, or am I losing my
yeah,
mind
yeah.
there?
yeah, we're getting one
There's
more.
one more. There's one
Okay,
more.
okay.
Season 5.
Are
Yeah.
you excited for it? Do you think it's going to be kind of like, hey, take the final map. We'll talk to you in Black Ops 7.
I
I'm
mean, they
excited for it, but it's interesting because like we've we had a cadence of getting maps like every season, and Treyarch were like, "Yo, when we say we're all in on round base this year, you're gonna feel it. Like we're just
yeah.
gonna be constantly hitting you with round base maps." And it's like they did until they didn't. And it's
Mhm.
been like 4 months when this map finally comes out since the last one.
Yeah.
But the fact we know BO7 is going to continue it on is like there's excitement, but there's more intrigue on how that's going to work, how that's going to make sense. Because there's some very interesting rumors about the playable crew in the next game. And so all eyes on this last map being like, how on earth do they,
Set
how
the
on earth does
stage
that
for that
happen? Yeah.
realistically. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. How does that happen? How do they end this story that they've been telling in Cold War that sounds like it might be coming to an end for these characters if
Yeah,
that
which is
leaks
like
true.
which is so it's so frustrating because not to get off on this tangent, but I thought at the end of Cold War, with the whole cutscene where like, Peck is like, "Hey man, I'm trying to go to this thing, this island," and like, we see Richtofen at the end of Forsaken. I assumed that to start Black Ops 6, we would hit the ground running with what is Richtofen doing, right? Where's Peck up to? What's Richtofen? What is Project Janus? We still don't even really know what Project Janus is, to be honest.
Mm.
Like fully, we don't really know what that is yet. And I I think that Black Ops 6 like narratively has just been a lot of wheel spinning where it's like go to this place to get the thing, to go to this place to get the other thing, and then somehow that's going to bring back a certain crew. But for a crew that we've spent all of this time with in Cold War and mostly in Black Ops 6, their story's over before it even got started.
Yeah.
Before Carver says anything, then F you to Richthofen. Like,
Yeah.
come on, man.
Yeah, it's weird. Like I'm sure it's not
What is Maya doing?
exactly. Like I'm sure it's not the case, but it really feels like BO6 was kind of like the limbo game that like
Mhm.
it had to tell something in between the main plot points of Richthofen and Project Janus. Like we got that cinematic in August of 2024, and we've only just gotten the map that's actually from in April of this year.
Yep.
But realistically, you could get rid of Citadel, you could get rid of the tomb, and literally just pick up from that intro cutscene and then play the map that just the most recent map, Shattered Veil, because that's where the story begins. It just feels like you said a lot of wheel spinning, and that's not very like Treyarch.
No,
to do that.
not at all. Not at all.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm thinking of the jumps in story progression from like Horizon to Zetsubo or even to Garad, and these massive leaps for our characters where they're all pointed at somebody. Where Maya, I don't know, you could say she had her moment in Terminus with her brother, but now but she's still here, and I'm like, and we don't have any indication that she's here for any other reason. So I'm like, what is she still doing around hanging with these jokers? I'm like, why? You know what I mean? Like, why is she still around? Like the whole arc with her brother is kind of wrapped up, but she's still. I don't know. Why is she here? I'm not sure.
Well, the arc with her brother wrapped up in Terminus, but then technically she then wanted to find the people that did that to her brother, which she got in Terminus, but then it ended in Citadel with that secret cinematic.
Yeah, she killed the guy in Citadel.
Yeah, so at that point, it's like, yeah, at that point, her arc is complete. Like, she came to do the thing, she did the thing. Now, why is she just hanging around? Like, what purpose does she add? But the thing that makes it most puzzling, and again, this is even more confusing for someone like Tyler, who's very casual COD player that like checks in with zombies, sees what's going on. Is like, for me and Chop, the crew we're playing as now, we know that in the year 2021, their bodies are deceased and decaying in a room in Urzikstan. So we're like, okay, we're now playing in the past and trying to see how we get to that point. But we're in 1991 in BO6. There's one cutscene where they're still alive in 96, but we're going to a game in 2035 where the Dark Ether has no time concept.
Oh.
So we're like, how on earth does this make any sense? How do these characters get their arc if this
is
leak
Maya
of a different
in that
crew
room in MWZ where like they're all dead and like she's
no.
not?
No, it's Strauss.
Gotcha.
It's the OGs, but yeah, it's like, how on earth does that make sense? Like, we know how their technically how their story ends. We're now playing to get to the end. But if this rumor of this crew is true, then they're out the picture.
That's so weird. That's so weird. Jeez. Well, I mean, all we can really hope for is really good maps and a fun gameplay loop. As long as I have that, man, I can overlook a lot of silly story stuff. If the game's fun, and there's a lot to do. I mean, I will say this, like, I know a lot of people have been very doomer about like Black Ops 6 when it comes to post-launch. And yeah, waiting 4 months for a new map is not my favorite. But
and why is Fringe the map that we get in July where nobody gives a crap about the game? Which is one of my favorite maps of all time, Fringe and BO3.
Pretty much the first time they've ever remade a BO3 map, by the way. That's groundbreaking.
Yeah, this is a big moment. Like, we're that old now. They're remastering BO3 maps.
They're remastering BO3. That's crazy. But I mean, I would just say this by and large, again, maybe controversial, but I'm pretty happy with the quality of Black Ops 6, like map wise. You know, the Tomb, now maybe I'm a little bit less willing to give grace because, you know, we thought we were going to have more maps than we did. So that one's kind of a miss, but like, again, Terminus, I think, is an all-time classic at this point.
Yep.
Liberty Falls ended up being a lot better than anybody expected. And generally, I think the game's fun. I just would hope to see them continue to improve on this formula in BO7, just deliver good maps. As long as they do that, man, I'm happy. That's all I can really ask for.
I agree. Like, it sounds like, oh, controversial, but Black Ops 6 Zombies is actually like pretty good.
Yeah.
Like
No, it's very
it's
good.
weird. Like you post that on Twitter, people are gonna be like flaming you, but like it's so easy in the moment to like have the current COD and be like, yo, there's so much wrong with this. This game is so crap. But like years down the line, you like retrospectively look back and you're like, you know what? That was actually pretty good. There's a lot of things they did right. But like this game is one of them games where I can look at it retrospectively right now and appreciate what they're doing and
Yeah.
be like, this is good. Like you guys don't know well especially in comparison to like Vanguard and like MWZ, like we have it so good right now.
We've
and then
been
we
in
have
the trenches comparatively. Like
we've been in the trenches for so long that people have forgotten what the trenches were like.
Yeah.
yeah.
You know, and
Yeah.
now we've had a pretty good like year of BO6 zombies, and then we're getting a whole nother year of round based in BO7. It's like there's very little to complain about.
Yeah, no, there's hardly any reason to complain at all, for sure. I mean, and again, there's also a lull in every COD season, right? Like even in BO3, the time between Zetsubo and Garad was like a drought. It was like a desert, you know, and
3
everyone was
months.
complaining. Yeah, it was not the best, but like that happens in every season. But now we can just look back at BO3 and look at all the good times. But BO6, I think, is going to be kind of similar, where after some years, people are like, you know what? That's a solid roster of maps. Like that's a solid selection. Yeah, maybe we had to wait 4 months to get the Reckoning or whatever it's called, but like, I mean, if they end on a banger and if it's a good map, I think that will, leave a good taste in people's mouths and will be a good send off for that as a mode, and will hopefully lead nicely into Black Ops 7, which sounds so weird, like saying that word. Black Ops 7. I don't think
Yeah.
I'm ever going to get used to that.
I know, like back in the day, if someone told me like, yo, you're getting a Black Ops game and you're like, but you're getting another one the following year, I'd be like, there's no way. Like,
Yeah.
you're lying, dude. But no, it's happening. But I completely agree with what you said. I think it's interesting as well to think if BO7 wasn't coming like directly after BO6, people might look at BO6 a little bit differently. Like it's
Sure.
almost like this has come out the door so quick and all the content's come out for it so quick, and before we've had a chance to really like
Digest it.
it's like the next game, the next
thing.
Black Ops is out.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Agreed.
So it'll be interesting to look at it and be like, well, we can tell that either BO6 suffered potentially from the development of BO7, or they managed to pull off a miracle. And I don't know, BO6 could be better than BO7. It's a very wild reality where that could be the case, but there's also a case where BO6 is great and BO7 ends up being great, and we just have two banger Black Ops games back to back.
Games back to back. Yeah, absolutely. Well, I couldn't have said it better myself. Well, I mean, that was pretty much all I wanted to touch on today. I don't know if you had anything else, Tyler, you wanted to get into.
No, I think that's good. I think I'm ready for a banger multiplayer. I think BO6 had the like foundation to be a good multiplayer, but I do think the audience is definitely correct with over time the maps just didn't work. And maybe we'll touch on this real quick before we go, but I watched a Drifter video, which it was such a well done video. And he talked about how BO6 multiplayer, the time to engagement is
so low now.
Like 2 seconds. And literally the game was made for TikTok brain rot pretty much. Whereas you go back to COD 4 or MW2, it could be 10 seconds before you find somebody in a multiplayer match.
Potentially longer, yeah.
Still doesn't even sound like a long time, but it is when you're kind of sprinting nonstop. So I just thought that was a really good point. And the more you think about it and you watch the gameplay, you're like, yeah, it's part of Call of Duty is there. It feels so good to play. The mechanics are great, but there used to be a little bit of strategy, not just sprint at somebody, 360 slide. And there used to be like, hey, let's go try to flank this while the other team's doing this. And now I just feel like there's not much of that. I can't even think of a map that you can do that on. Maybe Hacienda, but that's because it's a BO4 map.
Yeah, I mean, there's not many. IW tries to do that with making not 3-lane maps, but and maybe you could say they succeed in that more, but I get what you mean, where older Call of Duty games had longer times to engagement from spawning, which allows you to like think through what you're gonna do, maybe set up somewhere, and like, yeah, it wasn't just every 2 seconds you're getting an engagement.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah.
I feel as
So-
well like Treyarch were renowned for having like a more arcadey style COD.
Mhm.
I don't know if you feel the same way, Tyler, but like Cold War kind of felt like a bit more of a like callback to the arcadey Treyarch style. But like Black Ops 6, yeah, like the time to kill is so far. It kind of doesn't feel like a Treyarch multiplayer in
I
that
would agree.
sense. Like
I
it
would
doesn't
agree.
feel arcadey. And then it's like, is it a case of because it's on the unified engine now that doesn't feel that way? Was it like Treyarch's engine that gave it that sort of arcadey feel? But no, I couldn't agree more with what you guys are saying about multiplayer.
It didn't feel like any Call of Duty developer for some reason. If that makes any sense.
That's the
That's the-
problem.
yeah.
That's
Yeah,
the
yeah.
problem right there.
Like
Right
it doesn't feel like Treyarch for sure. It's like, oh well, it doesn't feel like Infinity Ward, and it definitely doesn't feel like a Sledgehammer. So yeah, it just
Bang on, man. That's the problem now. It's
Yeah.
like, yeah, every studio is this big conglomerate making all the things together. So
and that's what it feels like then.
nothing feels distinct anymore.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's interesting. A final point is at the CDL finals the other day, Treyarch dev did say if you like Black Ops 2 competitive, you'll like the gameplay of Black Ops 7. And I mean, I can't lie, that
I
got
saw
me a
that.
little bit excited because, like,
Do
in
you
my
think that's
opinion,
in reference to League play?
that's what I was thinking because
I was thinking
like
pick
league
10.
play. I
Could
think
be.
it could be everything. In
Yeah.
fairness, but like COD, like competitive Black Ops 2 was like the peak of competitive COD in my
Yes, it
opinion.
was.
Like that
Yes.
was so good to watch, and league play as well. The way that all worked, like so many people back in the day were playing that. That like now is like it's just not even comparable to like playing like ranked multiplayer or ranked Warzone. It's just not the same. And Treyarch are like so good at doing good systems like that. But yeah, it's hard to really
It could be
take what
it
he's
could be a
saying
number
and
of things.
work it out.
They,
Yeah,
they
exactly.
really
It could
they
be
really
anything.
are pushing BO2. Like that, you know what I mean?
100%.
It's almost like the MW19 marketing where
This is the
it was
BO2
priced.
nostalgia game.
Yeah, it was priced right away, and it was the task force are getting back together, and I feel like they're with BO7. They're really trying to push. If you were a Black Ops 2 fan, come back.
Yeah, 100%. Hey, listen. We ended off by saying, please give me back an emblem editor. Please and thank you very much.
Yeah.
Please.
I love
In
emblem
Vonderhaar
editor,
we
man.
trust, even though he's not there anymore.
Yeah. Well, John, I just want to say thank you so much for coming on, man. I know it's late for you, and we made it work, though. We really appreciate your time. Absolute honor and a pleasure to always have you on, and I'm sure the audience loves to see you whenever you get the chance to come through. We got to have you on again, shorter than a year this time.
Yes, please.
Yeah. Please. Yeah, just have me on again anytime, chaps. This was fantastic. And I don't mind staying up till stupid o'clock talking about COD with you guys because it's always fun. The time's just flown.
Are
Yeah,
you
no.
can I ask one more question? Are you allowed to leak the next movie you're going to?
Yeah.
Because I mean this guy's doing it, man.
Yeah, no, like genuinely, that stuff is like very few and far between. Like I genuinely don't have a clue what the next one is. I hope
Okay.
it's something cool though.
Superman,
yeah,
Fantastic Four. Listen, if I see you next to
Minecraft
Superman,
and
Minecraft 2.
I can't believe I watched Peak before the rest of the world got to watch Peak.
Yo, you got to chicken jockey before there
dude,
was chicken
I
jockey.
actually did you watch that, Chop?
What, the Minecraft movie?
I actually liked it.
Did you?
I
Did you?
I mean, I
did you
went
go to
in-
a chicken jockey screening.
I did not. I watched it at the house. I watched it at the
Okay.
house because I'm like, if
Oh,
I
no,
go
you
in there
didn't
as
get
a
the
30-year-old
experience.
man, I'm gonna be like, this is what's this guy doing?
No, man, you just got to bring a real live chicken into the theater.
That's true.
Yeah, like you go viral on TikTok. It's that
Yeah.
simple.
It reminded me of my eras, and I'm not that much older than you guys, but Napoleon Dynamite is kind of what it
Oh my
reminded me
God.
of.
I
yeah,
love that.
I've seen that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It just felt like it was like, this is a stupid movie. We know it's a stupid movie, but it's not a bad movie.
Mhm.
Yeah, it knows it's stupid and it embraces it.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Do you think, are you saying Minecraft will age as well as Napoleon Dynamite?
Um,
Oh
I
no.
Napoleon Dynamite
No.
just that's
Will-
the-
iconic.
Will our grandkids remember Chicken Jockey?
you never know, man. You never know.
You never know.
Sorry, that was a random. I think we were closing, but I just had thought about that because I was like, man, Fantastic Four, Superman coming up. This guy could be wearing the cape next time I see him.
Mhm.
Yeah, no, it's very valid. I would love to wear a cape on the red carpet for Superman.
That
But
would
yeah,
be
like
awesome.
those opportunities are very like just complete random. Like the Minecraft movie one was random, and the ballerina one was because of COD having a bundle, which is weird in itself. But that was like, yeah, that was a cool experience. And
Yeah.
it's crazy to think that we're talking about the video game, and because of the video game, I was on the red carpet for a movie premiere.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
awesome.
It's weird.
All right,
You
man.
never know where it'll
John,
take
thank
you,
you
man.
again so much, dude. We really appreciate it.
You're very welcome. And comments, please request me to come back because I'd love to come back.
We will have him.
We will have you back on. We got to have you on, like, if there's a COD next, or if I would love to do. Me and Chop talked about this last time of doing one
IRL?
at a COD next.
Yeah, that would be so good.
I hope they do it
I'd be
again
so
this year.
down.
I don't know why I have like doubts that they're doing it this year. There's no evidence to back that up. I have no idea.
Oh, it's just the marketing's been quiet.
Quiet. Yeah, maybe that's why. Maybe that's why.
Yeah. I really hope they do a COD next this year. Like, it doesn't make sense for them not to do it, but I feel like there's almost that expectation now on them that they have to keep doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like,
Yeah.
are they going to get to a point where they're going to switch it up and do a different event? It's not called COD next. Like, will we get a COD XP again? Ever again? Like, you know,
Man,
is that
can you
format going to
imagine?
change? Like, yeah. Oh my God. Back in the day, COD XP was.
Well, the only thing I'll argue
crazy.
with the COD next thing is I feel like now, after doing it for a couple years, as somebody that worked my butt off to get to a point where I got invited to COD next, it almost feels like now, and you guys will know this more than I will, it feels like now when you go to COD next, you're like a target. Like, oh, here we go. This dude's now paid by Activision. I'm like,
yeah, you become a shill.
I'm like,
yeah,
yes,
yeah.
I don't
100%.
got anything. But like, was that like that in BO2 and BO3? Like, I remember
No.
seeing like Scump playing
Nah.
Call of Duty early. And I'm like, that is the coolest thing. I need to be able to do that. Like, how do I do that? And now
Yeah,
that
like,
I'm in it, it's like now I'm getting DMs going, wow, well, look at this COD chill. What an idiot.
Sell
I'm
out.
like, all right,
sell
cool.
out. Sell out.
Yeah, you sell out Activision payroll. Like,
Yeah,
oh my,
yeah.
Like, I get comments every day about that, and it's so frustrating because it's like I
Activision
just
does
cover.
not pay us.
Yeah, they do not pay us a single cent, and it's
No.
also you. Hopefully, you've been following me for years. Where that's literally what my content is.
Mhm.
What did you mean? Like, I'm gonna talk about COD and play COD because that's what I do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do think that it's gotten more aggressive since
Oh,
like
100%.
specifically like COD Next stuff. But yeah, well, I don't know. Whenever I would go to like early capture events or something, I don't recall at least very many times being called like an Activision shill or whatever. It's just like that's just what it was. Maybe with how big it is now, maybe it's a little different, or maybe like the just the
production
amount
of it.
people that they bring in.
Yeah,
you
it's the
know,
production of it.
sure.
Yeah.
It feels this big spectacle, like fair enough, but I don't know. It's just I just sit here and like if I get invited to it, sure, why not? Right?
Yeah.
Like I think anybody sensible would do it too.
Yeah.
Doesn't make me a shill. It doesn't make me like immune to any criticism or giving criticism for that matter. But
Yeah.
it's like I would take it if it's offered because sure, I'm
like-
interested in it anyway.
Like, who wouldn't? If
Yeah.
anyone commenting calling people Activision shills got an email in their inbox inviting them to.
Hey, you want to play Call of Duty early? They'd be like, yes.
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Right away.
That's exactly it.
I don't know. COD
Well,
landscape
we'll
seems
see.
to have changed sometimes where I'm like, man, people used to respect people that were better than them. Now they call them a hacker. If you play the Call of Duty game early, if you say you like it, you're a shill.
Yep.
It's completely 180 from when I actually wanted to get into it and make it a career, but we're just going to keep on
I get
pushing,
it, man.
maybe.
Yeah, keep pushing.
Keep on pushing.
Hell
Now we're
yeah.
all depressed. Anyway, so back to yeah, but I think that was it. I think that was it, Chop, right? We good?
Yeah. That's all I got.
That was we're at a 2-hour podcast. We're giving these people 2 hours back to back.
Dude, we're putting
Oh
in work
my
today.
God. You're
We're
spoiling
hustling
them.
today.
I know.
Right,
I
I'm
know.
off. You can't give them any longer than this. I'm off.
Yeah.
He said too.
We'll have your Twitter and all that in the description as usual, and make sure you leave a 5-star on Spotify and Apple Music, please. If you've listened, and if you're watching on YouTube, I never plug this, Chop. You got to hit that like button, man, and subscribe.
Yeah, it's
I gotta
just subscribe to the podcast channel and then go subscribe to all of our channels individually as well. We all make our own content over there. So advice, if you want to keep up with all of us, that's a good way to do it. And yeah, all that stuff will be linked down below. Leave a like on this podcast, obviously, because there will be more, of course. But yeah, that's pretty much all I got to say. John, once again, it's been an honor, man. Thank you again so much.
Very
always
welcome.
appreciate your presence here and having a chat with you. It's been good catching up, and hopefully I'll get to see you soon.
Let's hope so.
All right, boys.
All right, man.
Everybody, we'll talk to you soon. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.